Hi, everybody. Just remember,
we stand for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm here with Kurt Mexican. Hi, Kurt.
Hey, Jimmy.
That
goes out to the people of Iran. Rebelling against the Ayatollah, I assume you mean.
Yes. Also here with Steph Zambrano.
Good to be here, Jim.
Or if you're in Levittown, Steph Zambrano.
And we're
Steph
coming
Sombrero?
back.
Steph Zambrano. We'll be back in Levittown June 25th and 26th and 27th. It's a Friday, Saturday. So I'll see you there. You know, maybe when you get back from the beach, you come see a nice comedy show.
Hey.
I let them talk me into doing 2 shows. Every time I've gone there, I've done 1 show. It sells out. Everybody has a great time. So now they have me going back doing 2. They always talk me into this. So here, I've got talked into doing it. And by the way, I'm not even making any money off this because the flights are so expensive now. For some reason, from LA to JFK, it's double what it used to be. Double.
I know.
But and it's crazy expensive.
Scottsdale was wildly expensive to go to do that stupid corporate. The corporate basically paid for the trip, but I just wanted to go somewhere sunny and sit by the pool.
So I like going to New York whenever I can, right? So I'm going to stay an extra day, go see a Broadway show or something. Maybe go to the Cellar, do a spot. But anyway,
we stand for you.
And
Kim Iverson just rated the stream.
Oh, thank you, Kim.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you, Kim.
Oi, I don't want any trouble.
So, by the way, on our video about Zach Galifianakis and Conan O'Brien being complete hypocrite, asswipe, phonies. By the way, I like Zach, and I still say that shit. I don't like Conan. People reported over and over that it wouldn't let them like the video. So it's got like 130 or 40,000 views already. It's got like 4,000 likes. Now, normally that would be upward around 12,000 likes. So, or so. And it's got 4,000. And I brought it up to the YouTube today and they're like, nope, it's working for me. Okay. And they go, well, if you could get someone to get a screenshot of it. Well, how do you know it's going to happen until it happens? Anyway, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I was just like, oh, really? Because every comment, I would say 99.9% of the comments under that video are positive. So people love that video, even though it was an hour long, which is a long video for us.
Yeah, YouTube just lies. They mass demonetize a bunch of people, like 30 million people at once, saying, "Oh, yo, humans reviewed this to make sure it wasn't a repetitive comment." Yeah. No, you didn't, assholes.
So YouTube is the CIA. It is the deep state. Okay. Well, Rumble is from Peter Thiel. First of all, he doesn't run the company. He was an original investor. And
if we're not being censored, I don't care.
Even if they are, I don't care because they don't censor me. So that's a pretty shitty deep state operation when they let me say whatever the fuck I want to say, and they monetize my videos.
Again, you're supposed to go by the actions of the thing rather than your stupid high school feelings, which is what America trains you every day to be like.
Right. We will know it by its fruit. Right?
Yeah.
So if the
you
fruit
will know them by the works of their fruits.
We stand for you.
And if Kurt, and by the way, underneath that video, two people I saw. I read every comment, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And people saying, "Oh, Joe Rogan is compromised, sellout, gatekeeper," and I'm like,
what?
I'm like, which gate is he keeping?
Yeah, what?
What gate is he keeping? If there's no gate, there's no gate.
The UFC commentary and talking about Bigfoot and shit on your podcast. The news is supposed to do their job, just like Jimmy Dore show shouldn't be the premier source of reliable information. That's a fault of the news.
Right. The reason why my show is successful is because the establishment legacy news is lying to you all the time. That's why people watch shows like this, because they know if they turn on CNN or read the New York Times, what?
We need Kurt to put on headphones if possible.
Oh, I don't know if that's going to, all right.
If that's not going to happen.
That may or may not work, because for some reason after the last update, plugging in headphones independently has made it not work. So I think that's, all right, hold on.
All right.
Really?
That's from Andrew is requesting this.
I don't hear it here. Do you hear it here? Oh, the show's getting it.
And plus, we know that Rumble is having some sort of tech issues.
Rumble's having some sort of tech issue, so just be aware of that. Also, people were saying Joe Rogan he's a sellout. He's been compromised. He's by this, and people were saying he's been compromised by the Jews, right? And so I go, you mean the guy who brought on Dave Smith, Abby Martin, Jimmy Dore, and Kurt Metzger to rip Israel, the new one, has been somehow compromised by the Jews? Really? You're never going to see Dave Smith on CNN ripping, or me, or Abby Martin, or Kurt ripping Israel, a new one. You're not going to see Max Blumenthal on CNN. And they're like, I'm like, what? When exactly did he sell out? Because he was such a threat to the establishment during COVID that CNN had to color his skin green. So when did this happen? Did it happen in like the last 10 minutes? When did Joe Rogan get compromised? He might not.
He didn't grill Trump on his show enough the way I would think that someone should. He just did a Jack Galifianakis talking to Obama. He didn't even. He just had a conversation with him.
He just had a conversation. Yeah. Again.
But why didn't he ask about E. Jean Carroll charges?
Why didn't he ask about a completely rigged court case?
Look, if you're a liberal, you're dumb as shit. And I mean, conservatives are also, you're dumb as shit, but liberals don't feel better than them. You're the reason it's like that. Because you suck.
Okay. I said that, and I responded to a bunch of comments under that video. There's like 4,000 comments. I probably read 2,000 of them.
If you think he's compromised by capitalism, you live in America, dumb shits. What do you think, you could survive here and not be compromised?
So Joe Rogan waited till he made his $300 million and then waited for 3 years after that then to sell out? Is that what?
Sell out how?
That doesn't make sense. Like they're saying that he's compromised by the Jews. I already said,
by
oh
the
really?
Jew? We're in showbiz.
He's compromised. He's compromised by
we're in show business.
He's compromised by the Jews, but he brings on Dave Smith, Kurt Metzger, Abby Martin, and Jimmy Dore to rip Israel, a new one. That's a shitty compromise.
Sounds like Nick Fuentes' closet gay fan saying dumb shit, because whenever they say Jews instead of Zionists, you know who you're talking to.
Is.
Dumb. And by the way, compromised. Your dipshit catboy Führer didn't get arrested for January 6th, but his dumbass followers did.
And now after I have done my research on him, he's afraid to come on this show with me and Kurt.
He wouldn't dare.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting that
not
now
me,
that I did, he was
bitching
up his closeted ass, screaming his closeted asshole off about me not having him on the show because I needed to do my research. And then as soon as I did, he doesn't want to come on. Isn't that interesting?
People said I told you not to have him on, but no, I immediately gave you the excellent Mikey No More video, which is a great documentary, because for some reason, a lot of people don't understand all of Nick's record. The Groypers do, so that's how I know you're a lolly-loving piece of shit if you still like him. Because if you know what he's been up to and follow him, I think you're worse than him. I think you're lower than shit.
Here's something else I found out. You know how Dan Bilzerian is running against Randy Fine, right? And Dan Bilzerian lives in Nevada. So apparently you can do that, because I remember Jack Uger did that. You don't have to be in the same district that you run for Congress.
Not in a foot race.
Like, how is that not a law that you have to live in the district that you're running for in Congress? But it's not, apparently. So I could run against Randy Fine if I wanted to.
Okay.
Dan Bilzerian seemed to be the real deal to me.
Why?
Now, I find out today that there was already a Republican in the race running against Randy Fine. And I'm like, well, maybe Dan Bilzerian is running because that guy is just another, Israel First Republican.
But he's not, is he?
Not only is he not, but he's backed by the anti-Zionist PAC. The guy who's running against Randy Fine, originally, who was running before Dan Bilzerian got in, is backed by the anti-Zionist PAC or anti-APAC PAC. Did you know that? So
I didn't know he was backed by that PAC, but I knew Bilzerian was full of shit the whole time because he's a fucking idiot.
Oh, come on.
No. That guy's entire thing. Where'd he come from?
I like him. I like that.
Yeah, I like how he gambled for a living, and it's not the money his dad stole that he was frittering away. I like a guy who's a known liar for years. Again, I'll send you another documentary. They'll tell you all about it. It doesn't add up that he would suddenly be running, just like Spencer Pratt is suddenly running. Oh, guess what? He's a big supporter of Israel. Yeah.
But anyway, so I disagree with Kurt on Dan Bilzerian. I like Dan Bilzerian. I like his directness and straightforwardness. But I think he's going to come on with that guy who was the original Republican against Randy Fine, and we'll ask him these questions, and we'll see. I'm sure he probably has a reasonable explanation for it. Well, we'll see. Because what it looks like right now is that they're going to split the opposition to Randy Fine so that Randy Fine gets in. That's what it looks like
immediately. I assume that.
That's what it looks like to me. So they've agreed to come on together, right?
Really?
Well, yeah, Dan has agreed.
Oh, not Randy Fine.
No. So Dan Bilzerian has agreed to come on with that guy. So
all right. Well, maybe he's not Nick Fuentes then.
So my goal is So to me, that shows that he's legit. That Dan Bilzerian is legit.
Questions, that's pretty good to me.
I'd like to know. That's all you can ask from a guy. So that's why I say about Dan. And so Dan Bilzerian and my goal is to see if we can't bring their campaigns together.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious now. I'm very curious now.
I'm as curious as a groper.
It's like I got a blue light and I'm looking for a man's semen on my couch.
Nick Fuentes is telling you to vote Democrat. That's the solution, ladies and gentlemen.
He did last time too.
Remember?
Yeah, but you know what? It's so weird that somebody like a rebel voice in media is saying go vote for another duopoly. Why aren't you saying go vote independent?
Because it seems fake. Because it seems mostly fake.
I mean, it's just that simple. This is America. Everything is a lie and a garbage. Everything
what
you like is a lie and garbage.
What does Vienticus say? Everything's a lie. Everything's a something. Everything's a scam. Everything's a lie, which is why I don't comply.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so let's get to this, because at 4 o'clock we're going to show you that there's a CIA whistleblower testifying today in Congress that Dr. Fauci and the intelligence community was in on the cover-up of the crimes of COVID. So that's happening today. Unfortunately, it's after the statute of limitations ran out and Fauci has a blanket pardon. So you can't prosecute him. So, of course, now
that's going to hold up. The one that Trump said maybe wouldn't hold up, or the Trump people told us wouldn't hold up.
Yeah, Trump is big pharma a bitch. You know that. Trump, that was all everything he said during the campaign was a lie.
Whoa.
And people say, "Oh, well, you didn't think." Well, show me a politician that didn't lie about everything they said. Show me Joe Biden when he said he's going to do the minimum wage, when he said that he was going to give us a public option. We said he didn't do anything.
Well, if you'd voted for Kamala, she promised to do nothing for you, and I bet she would have kept her promise.
I bet she would have. Why is my chair so low today?
I mean, Trump did no tax on tips. I'm shocked that
he did
got
that.
Done.
He did that.
I got to give that to him, right? That's cool.
You got to give that. All right, so I got to take out my gum. There's my nicotine.
I look at my Zima myself.
So the Tyler Robinson is a patsy, and he's being framed. And there's a million ways I can show you he's being framed, and I already showed you a bunch of them already that he's a patsy and he's being framed. Because the bottom line is, the first thing is that there's no way that bullet came from his gun and went into Charlie Kirk's neck. That's not how it happened, because a 30-06 bullet would have taken his head off, and it left a little bitty pinhole right here. So that's how you know. And then none of the guys working on him had blood on them. Isn't that weird? Anyway, so there's that. So just that alone, and they can't match the gun up to the bullet, and the bullet. Now it's just fragment. It's so there's no way that happened. Then they paved over the crime scene 2 days later, and they told the construction crew to don't say anything. There's just a million upon millions, and then we caught Erica and the people at TPUSA lying. We caught Dan Harple lying. We caught them all lying, time and time again. So, but now here is another piece of information that Baron Coleman had. So they're trying to say that Tyler Robinson confessed, as that Michael Schellenberger, the guy who was a good journalist, now is compromised by Israel in 10 different ways to Sunday. He's lying to you about Epstein. He's lying to you about Epstein killing himself. He's lying to you about Tyler Robinson confessed. And he knows he's lying, Michael Schellenberger. So, and the lie is that he confessed. He didn't confess. The lie is that his dad turned him in. His dad didn't turn him in. What happened was Tyler Robinson turned himself in because he didn't want the SWAT team showing up at his house and killing him. So the way that we'll get to it, but here's so the lie is that here's the lie. It's from Trish Wood. It's a lie. Grok says, what does the charging document say? How did you confirm this? A retired detective, a family friend, contacted Washington County Sheriff Nate Brooksby. Now, let's remember, Nate Brooksby is a corrupt piece of it, so much so that he recently had to resign in shame. Just so you know that, corrupt. So this guy, Nate Brooksby, said that a detective, a family friend, contacted Nate Brooksby around 8:02 p.m. that evening. Now, that's not true. Within about an hour, Tyler Robinson, accompanied by his parents and the detective, arrived at the sheriff's office and turned himself in peacefully. He was not immediately handcuffed and waited roughly 2.5 hours on the couch in an interview room until investigators from Utah County arrived. He was then formally taken into custody. He was booked into the Utah County Jail approximately 10 p.m. or shortly after, with authorities pronouncing the next morning. Okay, that's not what happened. Because what actually happened was Tyler Robinson was Mirandized at roughly 6:30 p.m. on September 11th. They're saying it didn't happen until September 12th. And why is that important? Because right around 8 o'clock, they say that he confessed on Reddit to the crime. That's the thing. So if he said, I don't want to talk to the cops, I'm not talking to the cops until I get a lawyer at 6:30 on September 11th, why would he then an hour and a half or 2 hours later then go on Reddit and confess?
Maybe his one true love, Lance Twiggs, did it.
So that doesn't make that's what we're going to show you today. And Baron Coleman was the one who uncovered this. He said, I have confirmed Tyler Robinson was in custody at the Washington County Sheriff's Office at 6:50 p.m. on September 11th. You may post your apologies. I'm eager to hear all about how it's normal for people to post confessions to Discord after they are in custody. So I don't know if it was Reddit or Discord, but that's where they're saying he confessed that he didn't do that. Somebody might have, but it wasn't him, because he was in custody and he had already declared, I'm not going to talk to the cops until I get a lawyer. And Baron Coleman can prove this So let's watch. Here's Baron Coleman, and he's got the charging document.
This way, how did he get there in under 4 hours? It says he arrested him at 10 p.m.
Okay, hang on. Hey, go to Steph for a sec.
Okay. Hey, yes, I know like people are trying to watch on Rumble. The screen flows on me, so you can't even hear this. But the rest of you can hear me on this. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Jimmy, Sound Chaser wants to know how your medical issue worked out. Update, he's feeling okay today. He had to go to get a CT scan this morning, and we're waiting to hear back how soon they can get him in to remove this kidney stone.
The second piece of evidence.
All right, let's see the next little piece of info I have for you girls.
So here we go.
Back to Jim.
So here's the man, the myth, Baron Coleman, getting it done. I can't stand that I'm just slow in the chair, but there's nothing I can do right now. Can we order me another chair?
Yes.
The second piece of evidence we looked at back in April, again, just to refresh your recollection, the arrest date here on the left-hand side of this document. This is the inmate booking sheet and probable cause statement from Utah County Sheriff's Office. The arrest date was 9/11/2025 at 10 p.m. The arresting officer was Brian Davis. We now know Brian Davis is an officer with the State Bureau of Investigation. He would have come down from Orem, Utah, or from Salt Lake City or Provo. That's about a 3.5-hour drive, which means in order to get there at 10 p.m. to take Tyler Robinson into custody, to arrest him, Brian Davis would have had to start for Washington County 3.5 hours earlier, around 6:30 p.m., which surprisingly, shockingly matches up nearly to the minute of when I suggested he was being Mirandized back in Washington County.
So if the guy who came down to officially put him arrest and he got there at 10 p.m., well, it's a 3.5-hour drive, just like Baron Coleman said. Well, that means that he turned himself in at 6:30 and declared his Fifth Amendment right to not testify or give a statement. So then they call this guy who's 3.5 hours away, drives down, and arrests him at 10 p.m. officially.
Do the jokes.
So, yeah. So, let's just watch this again.
The second piece of evidence we looked at back in April, again, just to refresh your recollection, the arrest date here on the left-hand side of this document. This is the inmate booking sheet and probable cause statement from Utah County Sheriff's Office. The arrest date was 9/11/2025 at 10.
Hang on a second. So I just want to go back. So I'm eager to hear all about how it's normal for people to post confessions to Discord after they are in custody. Sure, it's not normal yet.
Yeah, it's called pre-crime and AI. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go.
The second piece of evidence we looked at back in April, again, just to refresh your recollection, the arrest date here on the left-hand side of this document. This is the inmate booking sheet and probable cause statement from Utah County Sheriff's Office. The arrest date was 9/11/2025 at 10 p.m. The arresting officer was Brian Davis. We now know Brian Davis is an officer with the State Bureau of Investigation. He would have come down from Orem, Utah, or from Salt Lake City or Provo. That's about a 3.5-hour drive, which means in order to get there at 10 p.m. to take Tyler Robinson into custody, to arrest him, Brian Davis would have had to start for Washington County 3.5 hours earlier, around 6:30 p.m., which surprisingly, shockingly matches up nearly to the minute of when I suggested he was being Mirandized back in Washington County. So it's very consistent. Now, do we believe it takes 3.5 to 4 hours to get back to Utah County? Yeah, sure. Because look, at the time he comes in is 4 hours later. Right here, 9/12/2025, the date into Utah County. That's 4 hours later. So Brian Davis takes him into custody at 10, arrests him, puts him in a squad car or some sort of vessel, and drives him to Utah County. And that takes about 4 hours to get from the southern part of the state to the northern part of the state. And that is consistent. So if we know it took him 4 hours to get this way, how did he get there in under 4 hours? It says he arrested him at 10 p.m. on September 11th. The Fed sloppers have no answer for this. They just ignore it. Believe it or not, I keep raising this issue to them on X, and they just go, It says September 12th. He says he was arrested on September 12th. Yeah, but it says the officer arrested him on September 11th at 10 p.m. And this is an officer from Salt Lake City or Orem or Provo, which is 3.5, 4 hours away. How did he know to start down there if he didn't even know Tyler Robinson existed at that time? So just hold this all in your head, because this is all the evidence we had at the time to conclude, as I believe rightly, that he was arrested on September 11th. And it's important. This is an important fact. We don't want to glaze over this fact.
Why? Why is it
If he was
important?
arrested on September 11th, if he was Mirandized at 6:25 p.m. on September 11th, that means he was Mirandized an hour and a half before he confessed on Discord. He tells the sheriff, I don't want to answer any questions. I would like to speak to a lawyer before I talk further. And then I'm to believe while he's declining to answer any questions, an hour and a half later, he picks up a phone, gets on Discord and says, oh, I did it, guys. I did it. It was me all by myself. I had no help. There was no overseas allies. There was no military involvement. It was just me. And I did it for my tranny friend. That's it.
So that's how you know that that timeline that they're trying to push now is a lie. The timeline, they're saying, no, he was arrested on the 12th. And that's why he was able to do that confession on Discord. Well, as Baron Coleman just put, and by the way, he's got way more detail. This is just a broad stroke. If you watch his video, which everybody should watch his video on this. It's about an hour long. He goes
Not
into
to mention every other thing.
He goes into way more detail about how it's undeniable that what he's saying is true. So this is just the broad stroke. He just showed you the broad stroke. And so it doesn't make any sense that a guy would assert his Fifth Amendment rights at 6:30, and then an hour later, he would go to Discord and confess. So just like those text messages were obviously made up by the FBI to his trans lover, that obviously made up.
Did Cash write that? Because it was like somebody really gave.
And that sheriff, that corrupt sheriff, when he gave his first press conference, he said 33 hours. And then FBI, and then Kash Patel said it was 33 hours. So we all know 33 is.
Yeah, everything's under control with the plan.
That's
Don't
right.
worry.
And so this was a ritual. This was a ritual execution. And don't think that the people who control societies aren't into that stuff.
Well, when you kill a president, here I'll put it in spacey terms. You get the power to control reality with the energy of killing a king. Now, you can put that in purely materialist terms if you want. Everything changed after 9/11. Everything changed after JFK. But the thing is, they do it too much. So that's why this Charlie Kirk one, they wanted to wait till he was president to kill him. Didn't work out their way because he didn't do what they wanted. And then this kid didn't do what they wanted by turning himself in before they could set him up.
I'm going to show you that. Yeah. So what the plan was, the assassination plan was that this kid was supposed to go out in a blaze of glory fighting the cops. I'm going to show you that in a second. So we're going to get to that. But he didn't. He screwed up their plan, and he turned himself in. So whatever the MK Ultra thing they had on Tyler Robinson, it didn't fully work.
Black Rock.
Yeah. So, and by the way, so he was arrested on September 11th, not September 12th, which means if he was arrested on September 11th, he did not write that confession on Discord. And so there's that date again, September 11th. So the next false flag that we're supposed to wolf down like a free buffet in a mental institution is this.
I think we should make it a holiday called Government Honesty Day, when they're being super honest with you. Whatever happens on July 11, you could
Kurt,
put stock in that being real.
Kurt, I'm not surprised because a lot of weird stuff happens on September 11th. A lot of weird stuff that's connected to Israel. A lot of weird stuff.
Oh, you mean like the Romans destroyed the Second Temple in Jerusalem on September 11th also?
Are you kidding?
No. It's a special date.
So right there, again, their whole case is falling apart. Their case is falling apart because the gun was not the gun that killed him. It was not a 30-06 bullet. Not only that, but the gun that they say he used could not have been fired because there was a scope on it, and the safety could not have been turned. We're going to get to that. But here's one more thing from so Baron Coleman's he's upset at all these people on Twitter who are lying. They're most likely being paid to push the Fed narrative. And he says this.
Gullible to check after his grifter slop. No, I'm going to go through it step by step, and you're going to agree with me tonight. The consequences to their lies are that there is a coordinated multi-agency cover-up to frame Tyler Robinson. That's the consequence.
That's the consequence.
That's why they're digging in their heels.
That's right.
That's why they refuse to accept reality. And yes, I'm frustrated about it. I'm very frustrated about it. This is too important of a fact to gloss over. Then I got to deal with people like Andrea Burkhart, not just Gary Melton or Milton, depending on who's calling him.
Well,
then I got to deal with people like Andrea Burkhart, who goes on YouTube channels and files things like this on X. Your confusion is because he was Mirandized at 6:25 p.m. on the 12th in Utah County.
Nope.
Not on the 11th before he was surrendered in Washington County.
Nope.
He sent the Discord messages before he surrendered, exactly as the message says, and exactly as Sheriff Brooksby's timeline allows. Well, the only thing she said correct is that Sheriff Brooksby's timeline is the only thing that supports that he gave his statement, or he was Mirandized on the 12th and not the 11th. Sheriff Brooksby is the only glue holding this entire story together. He's a disgraced former sheriff who resigned in disgrace, in scandal. And she's hooking her entire legacy on this case to that clown. Here's the reality. There's not a single positive fact in any pleading that says Tyler Robinson was Mirandized at 6:25 p.m. on the 12th. There's not one. I will also say there's not one that says he was Mirandized at 6:25 p.m. on the 11th. I'm deducing that using
what?
Logic. Burkhart, Melton, would you?
There it is. So if that cop who went and arrested him had to drive 3.5 hours, and he got him at 10 p.m., that means he had to start off at 6:30, which is when he turned himself in, which is when he got Mirandized, which is when he said, "I'm not talking to anybody." Do you follow? I hope that's easy to follow, right? Everybody follows that, right, Misha? Okay.
So let me guess, Andrea Burkhart, some kind of Zionist, something.
So, Baron Coleman says, it's almost as if Tyler turned himself in too quickly. And he didn't conveniently and clearly confess, so they created a story where he turned himself in hours later, thus allowing a Discord confession to be posted in his name. It's almost like that. John Bray says, I also have a hard time understanding why Tyler would go through the trouble of engraving bullet cases with messages if he would take the secret to his grave. Remember that? In those text messages to his girlfriend, he said, I wanted to take this to my grave. Well, then why would you engrave the bullets? That doesn't make sense.
Very strange. There's two teams working on this, and they didn't compare notes.
And so I also have a hard time understanding why he would go through the trouble of engraving the bullets with messages if he wanted to take the secret to his grave and planned on retrieving the rifle. That just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because it's because he's being set up. This is a patsy. And that's why it doesn't make sense. Okay. All right. So, Sam Parker, he broke this down before we showed this to you, but I'll show it to you again. He says the original plan was for Tyler Robinson to be killed in a shootout, as we suspected. That was the original plan. Follow closely because it's a little confusing. So they had text messages 1.0, but then they revised it and they released text messages 2.0. So in the original text messages, which trace back to first being divulged to the FBI by Lance Twiggs at 1 a.m. on September 12th, the same nighttime that Tyler turned himself in, Tyler allegedly states he's going to call the cops to a certain location and go out on my own terms. I have no intention of being drugged through the courts. These messages were how come I can't read this? These messages were meant to be paper trail for the shootout that the conspirators had planned for him. Those text messages were text messages version of the story 1.0. Just so you know. By the way, Lance Twiggs, how's he doing? Haven't heard anything from that guy. Awfully strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't
he
it?
Okay?
Is he okay?
You'd think there'd be a media frenzy around this.
Don't you just hate when you engrave the bullet so that they make a statement about this exact timetable and then, like a jittery groom who chickens out at the altar, abandoning his bride, even though he spent 3 months' income to engrave the wedding ring? That's what this is like. So, keeping going, but that's not what Tyler did. He didn't go out in a blaze of glory. If he didn't want to be, if the first messages said, I'm going to go out on my own terms, I don't want to be dragged through the courts, why did he go and turn himself in and then say, I'm not going to talk to the cops, I want a court case and a lawyer, if he didn't want to be dragged through the courts? That's exactly what he did. Because their plan didn't work.
How are they going to avoid having to kill him in prison, I wonder?
So fate, God, a family member, something or somebody intervened, and he didn't follow whatever the original plan was. He turned himself in instead, ruining the shootout plan that the conspirators had prearranged for their patsy. Remember, the guy in Butler, Pennsylvania got killed immediately. So that clears that up, and Trump closes the investigation. Lee Harvey Oswald gets killed by a guy. Well, who was the guy who killed him?
Jack Ruby?
Jack Ruby, who then ends up dead. Isn't that something?
And he left his dogs that he never would leave alone in the car while he did it, because he was an MK Ultra. Oh, it was Palantir and Tesla owned the property where Tyler's gun was found.
That's right.
Palantir and Tesla. Well, that's weird.
That's weird. So that's why the text messages in the indictment from September 16 say that I'm going to turn myself in willingly. So they switched it. These messages were the adjustment made in the aftermath of Tyler turning himself in on the evening of the 11th, ruining their plan. These messages were actually version 2.0. So the ones that are in the actual indictment from the 16th are the text message version 2.0. But when Lance Twiggs shared the text messages from the original plan on what was essentially also the evening of the 11th, 1 a.m. September 12th, basically the night of the 11th, the conspirators hadn't yet had time to react to Tyler going off script. All Lance had at that moment was version 1.0. So that's what he shared. And that's what made it into the FBI file, not the charging documents. And that's what's been newly released. By September 16th, the conspirators had time to react, and they forged a new fake text message of Tyler saying he was going to turn himself in, because that's what Tyler ended up doing. Again, these were version 2.0, but the text that Lance Twiggs shared the night Tyler turned him in reflected the original plan, saying that he was going to go out on his own terms. There's two different sets of text messages. Okay, all right, okay. They had planned to mow Tyler down, released version of the text messages 1.0 of Tyler saying that he was going to go out on his own terms, and wrap everything up in a nice little bow. What they say about the what do they say about the best laid plans of mice and men? Tell me if I'm reading this wrong. So here they are. Here's the text messages. The September 16th indictment, and then the newly released from the early morning of September 12th below. So here's the goddamn cheer. So here it is. Not yet, but I have no doubts they will come on me within the hour, and I will be giving my location up and going out on my own terms. I have no intention of being drugged through the courts in front of my country. So that's the original message that they faked, that Tyler Twiggs released the night he was arrested, September 11th, although it was technically September 12th when he turned these in. Here's the original 1.0 plan. 1.0 is, I'm going to turn...
Wait, what?
So that's him saying he's going to go out in a blaze of glory. Here's the 2.0 plan. Then when they had to rejigger it because he turned himself in. I'm going to turn myself in willingly. One of my neighbors there is a deputy for the sheriff. So that's it.
Who's the writer on that one?
Right?
You know, as a guy who's had to write for a lot of award shows and live things, I wonder who they have on the payroll and why they've never offered me any because I could write something better than this, dickheads.
And so here's
you
how...
should come to me. I wouldn't be on Jimmy Dore show.
So it's already not the bullet that they said. It was no way a 30-06 bullet, A. And B, he couldn't have even fired the gun with the scope on it, as we're going to show you here.
Got one of my favorite type of guns, Mauser 98. Not necessarily this specific one, but somebody's done a sporter job on her, and the gun's in the shop for a low scope safety. So they've mounted a scope, they got a low bolt handle, all well and good, but they got the military safety, which isn't conducive to our scope, obviously.
So the scope blocks the safety from being turned off. So there's no way that gun was even fired. And the reason why you know that gun wasn't fired,
you couldn't have cocked it
because he couldn't get the safety off because of the scope. But secondly, and maybe even more importantly, that the gun sniffing dogs who can sniff a gun that was fired a week later in the rain could not find that gun in the exact place that they actually ended up finding it. The gun sniffing dogs couldn't find it. Remember, a gun sniffing dog can find a gun that has been fired a week after it was fired in the rain. They couldn't find it, but they did find that gun immediately after the FBI showed up in the exact place the dogs were looking.
Jimmy, not to be cynical here, but I'm guessing he didn't even ever take that gun apart at all, and it was just put there.
I'm guessing. But there's no way he got that gun up on the roof, Kurt, because it wouldn't fit in his backpack. But they said no, he put it down his legs. But if he put it down, if he put it down his legs, then he couldn't bend his legs to get up those steps.
Okay, I'm 6'4", and me putting that down my leg looks like it'd be real hard to walk in my skinny tight jeans as a dedicated furry and bisexual that I am.
Who exactly put that rifle together? Lee Harvey Oswald? So
what on earth? That is, I didn't realize they were saying that this was the gun in this picture. I for a minute thought they were just showing an example of a gun, but it's on a lawn with the lights. So how are they going to get out of this one? Just banking on the fact that most people don't know how guns work?
They're banking on the fact that no one's looking into it and that the establishment media, which is Zionist occupied, is not going to tell you the truth about it.
It worked on 9/11. It worked on 9/11.
It worked on 9/11.
I understand.
It worked on Libya. It worked on COVID. It worked on Russiagate. It worked on the Ukraine war. It worked on the Syrian war. It worked that the establishment is part. The establishment media is part of run by the deep state.
Well, that's why they crack down on comedy, Jimmy, because when you're laughing at incongruities that you're being given, it disrupts the trance. So all these things, and I remember the things, so for example, finding the passports of the terrorist pilots. If somebody might have told me that, hell, maybe Lee Camp told me at the time because he was against it. I don't remember, but if I had that in my head that they found their intact passports in the rubble of 9/11, and I wanted to even think about it a little bit, I wouldn't believe the story. So just now I know about it. So sure, you got me with that one, guys. Good one. but you suck at your job, so I don't fall for all your other scams after you've already burned me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know
And I didn't
exactly.
get burned that bad. I didn't go to war and lose my dick.
Yeah,
So I didn't get burned as bad as some guys did.
like that football player.
Like who found out the war was bullshit, so they
So
killed
they
him.
killed him.
Yeah. And then pretended unfriendly fire. It was an enemy called your own government that
Yeah.
hates you.
That hates. He figured out it was a lie, and they killed him.
That's why they call it the American experiment. And I couldn't figure that out. Why Mike Pompeo go, I learned to lie and cheat for the glory of the American experiment. And I would go, I thought America was settled science, that it exists. Why do you keep calling it an experiment? Because it's an experiment on the way to the New World Order. They always intended to slowly take all the rights away that they gave you in the beginning. That was the plan out of the gate.
And now they've done it. And now the AI data centers are there to surveil you.
Yeah. Did you fight for my freedom? Hey, thanks for your service fighting for my freedom. I now have less freedom. Does that dawn on any of these people? It dawns on me.
It dawns on me. All right, so now we're going to show you how the CIA was in on it with Fauci to pull the hoax on you that was the COVID pandemic. And we're going to bring on our friend from the Children's Health Defense, Brian Hooker. He's the
Sexy
director
name.
of science and research at the Children's Defense.
You haven't talked to Whitney Cummings. I bet that'd be a real good video.
What do you mean?
Whitney Cummings and Brian Hooker. Anyway.
Oh, I get it.
And then my friend Chad Big Dick. All
I
right, I
got
gotta
it.
go. I'll see you guys in a little bit.
All right. All right, so we'll take a break and we'll bring on our guest. Hey, Sam Altman recently announced that ChatGPT can now reference all your past conversations. Did you know that?
Finally.
Do you feel comfortable knowing an AI platform has access to all your thoughts, dreams, sensitive questions, business ideas, etc.? What are they going to do with it? Introducing Venice AI. Venice AI lets you use AI without handing over your sensitive information. Venice utilizes leading open source AI models to deliver text, code, and image generation to your web browser. There's no downloads, no installations of anything. They don't spy on you or censor the AI. Messages are encrypted and your conversation history stored only in your browser. AI can be extremely valuable, but we shouldn't need to give up your privacy to use it. Their Pro plan unlocks the full platform and features including PDF uploads for summaries or insights, the ability to turn off safe mode for unhindered image generation, and the ability to change how Venice interacts with you by modifying the system prompt, limitless text, and high image limits. It will generate images Grok won't allow me to generate. Here's an example. Ready? Hey, please generate an image of a baby getting vaccinated. And there it is. They did it. There it is. So that Grok won't do that. So if you want to use AI without fear of handing over your most intimate thoughts to a corporation or the government, you can get 20% off a Pro plan using my link, venice.ai/Jimmy. And the code is Jimmy. All right, hi, everybody. Welcome back to the live stream. We got our special guest, friend of the show, Dr. Brian Hooker, Senior Director of Science and Research at Children Health Defense, an organization committed to the best health for children in the U.S. and worldwide. He is also a former professor of biology at Simpson University in Redding, California, where he specialized in microbiology and biotechnology. He co-authored with RFK Jr. the New York Times best-selling book, Vax Unvax, Let the Science Speak. Welcome back to the show, Brian Hooker. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Jimmy. It is so good to be back. Thank you for having me.
Now, the reason why I have you on today is so you can comment on, there's a CIA whistleblower who's going to tell you that the intelligence community, meaning the CIA, and Dr. Fauci were in cahoots to cover up all things COVID. And let's listen to it. It's like 3 minutes long. Let's listen. Here, this is from Rand Paul is the one who called this hearing. And he says he just heard explosive testimony from a CIA whistleblower. And his conclusion is Fauci intentionally influenced the intelligence community analysis of the COVID origins. So let's listen.
I am a career CIA operations officer. And as you mentioned, I was on joint duty assignment at the Office of Director National Intelligence Directors Initiatives Group, or the DIG, between March 2025 and April 2026. I was responsible for leading the DIG's investigation into COVID origins, anomalous health incidents, and unidentified anomalous phenomena. I'm here today to discuss the COVID cover-up, the national security implications associated with the DIG's investigative findings, and CIA refusal to comply with lawful oversight.
And here's what he found.
Intelligence community leaders and senior analysts downplayed the possibility that the COVID pandemic originated as a result of a lab incident. Motives are difficult to define given the scope of the DIG's review. Intentional or not.
Now, let me just stop right there for a second. Do you have a theory on what the motives are for the CIA and Dr. Fauci to cover up the origins of the virus? I know why Fauci would want to, right? Because he illegally funded the creation of that virus, even though Barack Obama put a stop to the gain-of-function research that gave us the COVID, SARS-CoV-2. And so then he went through a CIA cutout called EcoHealth Alliance. So that's why Fauci would, right? And the CIA would want to because they're also carried it out. The EcoHealth Alliance is the CIA.
It is a part of the CIA that took a part in that research. And the CIA has been funding gain-of-function research for a very, very long time. You know, this is an incestuous relationship between HHS, the Department of Defense, and the Central Intelligence Agency. And despite, you know, Barack Obama putting a moratorium on gain-of-function research, they had a workaround in place. That moratorium was supposed to take place in 2014, yet SARS-CoV-2 was being manipulated in 2015. And we know that, you know, the biggest impetus, the biggest motivation was culpability, because these guys could have been caught red-handed with, you know, staging the world's biggest pandemic and, you know, creating a fear and catastrophe that killed millions of people.
And so that's why Fauci's pardon from Biden goes back to 2014, because that's when he started to illegally and secretly continue funding the research of gain of function into the SARS-CoV-2 virus through the CIA's cutout EcoHealth Alliance. So if you wonder, why would Joe Biden give him a pardon that goes back 10 years? That's why, because that's when the crime for COVID started. That's
precisely.
Why. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so now so this guy here, show this guy. So this guy, the CIA whistleblower, says, I can't tell you the motivations for sure. Well, I can. And I just did. Okay, so now let's keep going.
The IC's actions resulted in a cover-up.
So when he said the IC, that means the intelligence community actions, just so you know. So the intelligence community, meaning the CIA's actions, resulted in a cover-up.
Wasted resources and a failure to properly inform policymakers. Public health policy would have been very different had the American public been made aware that a virus from a lab in China was going to serve as the foundation for an emergency use authorization mRNA products, being mandated by the former administration. Dr. Fauci's role in the cover-up was intentional. Dr. Fauci influenced the analytical process and findings by leveraging his position to ensure the IC consulted with a conflicted list of curated subject matter experts, public health officials, and scientists. This included some of the authors of the paper, The Proximal Origin of SARS-CoV-2.
So now the paper, The Proximal Origins of SARS-CoV-2, which was printed in Science magazine, I think it was, or Science Nature magazine, that was what everybody referred to, including Fauci, as proof that the virus came from nature. But as we have revealed on this show previously, with the help of Matt Orfala's great work, was that the Freedom of Information Act revealed the emails from those scientists who wrote that paper when they originally all said it's clear that this came from a lab and not nature. And then Fauci talked to them, offered them somewhere between $6 and $9 million in research funding to them, and then they completely flipped their story. And so then and everybody knows that Proximal Oranges paper that everybody pointed to as proof that the virus started in nature is debunked and not true and was garbage. Everybody now admits that. Pretty much everybody knows that, even the media, except that paper has not been taken down from that Science Nature magazine. It's still up, just to let you know.
No, it needs to be retracted, and there's evidence through the Freedom of Information Act that it was a complete sham, and that it was payola, basically, like you said, Jimmy, that in order to get these $6 to $9 million grants from the NIH, then sign on to this Proximal Origins paper and, do the duty to, God and your country, or whatever Fauci was peddling at that particular point in time, and getting, I've been a researcher for 35 years. I've only had one NIH grant the entire time that lasted for a sum total of 1.5 years. These things are, these are e-ticket, hot commodity. If you get your foot in the door at the National Institutes of Health, this is not,
it's a gravy train.
It's gravy train. It's not a parting gift. It's not what's behind door number 3. This can set people for life.
Okay, so here we go, back to the CIA whistleblower. And just keep in mind, whenever he says IC, he means the CIA.
And other public health experts who have been in his orbit for the last 20 plus years. Some of the scientists were part of the Biological Sciences Experts Group, or the BSEG, an office of Director National Intelligence Advisory Body, whose members often receive considerable funding from NIAID and public health agencies. The BSEG scientists influence national laboratory WMD research, policy decisions, finished analysis, and other intelligence matters, creating misaligned incentives and conflicts of interest, as well as counterintelligence issues.
So what he's saying there is that the money that Fauci threw around in the medical community at large created unbelievable conflicts of interest, not only inside the medicine, but inside intelligence community agencies also. That's how I heard that. Did you hear that that way, Brian?
That is absolutely correct. And we know that the system is corrupt to the core, and Fauci knew how to play the system like a violin.
Yes.
In order to incentivize individuals that were culpable and could be culpable of gain of function research, by leveraging that culpability, not only was it financial incentivization, but it was incentivization of the fact that Fauci could ruin their careers. He could ruin them if they did not fall in line with the proximal origins of SARS-CoV-2.
He could ruin their careers in several ways. One of them is he cuts off the funding to them, their laboratory, their university, which everybody relied on the government for. The second way is that he had direct connections to medical journals and science magazines that would write hit pieces on them to destroy their reputation, which he did during COVID to lots of people, including Dr. Robert Malone.
He did, and he could have also exposed the fact that many of them were violating the moratorium on gain-of-function research. These are WMD labs, weapons of mass destruction labs. So these individuals were carrying out this research in plain sight. All Fauci had to do was rat them out, and there goes their career.
Here we go.
Since 2006, the BSEG consulted part-time on biodefense issues for the IC, while conducting government-funded research and holding academia positions, as well as maintaining roles in public health institutions and serving as members in the National Academy of Science. They received funding from NIAID and other agencies for vaccine research.
So the NIAID is that was the department that Fauci was directly ahead of. He was also the head of bioweapons research for the Pentagon, which is called DARPA. So he had he was holding the strings everywhere there was to hold the strings. Okay.
USAID's PREDICT project, the Cooperative Threat Reduction Program, and even worked with Chinese scientists on coronavirus and other pathogen studies pursuing vaccines. There was no oversight monitoring how this web of relationships influenced research, policy, and public health in any holistic way for over 20 years. In fact, several of the BSEG scientists helped Dr. Fauci rewrite definitions of gain of function in 2015 to lift a funding pause on dangerous research. Still others participated in
So just to break that down, what he's just said is these group of doctors participated in rewriting the definition of what gain of function was because Barack Obama had outlawed it. So what they did was they rewrote the definition of it, just like they rewrote the definition of what a vaccine was for the COVID vax. They rewrote the definition of it so that they could get around the law and Barack Obama's moratorium on banning that kind of research. So they just rewrote the definition of what that research was so it didn't fall under the purview of that law and regulation. Am I reading that correctly?
Yes, that is absolutely correct. They rewrote the guidelines and the definition, tightened the definition of gain of function research in order to slip this information through. And we know that Ralph Barrick at University of North Carolina in 2015 was collaborating with the Wuhan Institute of Virology to basically weaponize SARS-CoV-2. And so he did that, Fauci did that in due time in order to set up this entire scenario.
Okay.
Planning dangerous research. Still others participated in planning Event 201 in 2019. This was a coronavirus pandemic tabletop exercise, curiously similar to the events that played out during the COVID-19 pandemic.
So he's talking about Event 201, which took place right before COVID happened. And the whole point, it was all the big top people, and they went through a scenario. Hey, what if there was a SARS-CoV-2 breakout? How would we handle it? How would that? And of course, how would we handle the media? How would we manipulate the people? How would we get them to take vaccines? How would we do all that stuff that they did? They went through a practice run before they actually did it, and that's called Event 201. And that's, again, something you'll never hear about on the corporate legacy media. Okay. So that's what I'm
sorry. Please go ahead. Sorry.
So that's what he's talking about. When you hear him say Event 2, they all participated in Event 201. That's the thing that he's talking about. That's what Event 201 was a practice run on how to do COVID pandemic. Okay. Let me back it up a little.
Coronavirus pandemic tabletop exercise, curiously similar to the events that played out during the COVID-19 pandemic. And it was attended by Dr. Fauci and individuals with IC ties like former DNI Avril Haines. The CIA and DNI analytic managers responsible for examining the origin of COVID made decisions inconsistent with the conclusions of subject matter experts and analytical tradecraft.
So there you go. There's a CIA whistleblower testifying.
Right.
Now, what's really unfortunate or revealing is that none of the Democrats on this committee participated. They all got up and left. Did you know that, Brian?
That is correct. It was nobody on the Democratic side. It was nobody that was of the party of Joe Biden, and the party that really mandated the COVID-19 vaccine and mandated these countermeasures. We were talking about mandatory masking, lockdowns, mandatory vaccinations in order to keep your jobs. And so I think that, looking at the COVID response and knowing the fact that, the higher ups knew exactly what this was. And Fauci knew exactly what this was. There's no way that you can tell me otherwise. But yet none of them will sit through the hearing and listen to the truth from the CIA whistleblower.
And there's no price for them to pay politically for this, because half the country that still votes Democrat are still brainwashed, and they believe all the propaganda around Dr. Fauci, the COVID, vaccines, ivermectin. They still are brain dead and brainwashed. Is that your experience?
Yes, when somebody becomes enlightened, it seems like the entirety of my organization's Children's Health Defense rejoices, because it's very, very difficult to tear somebody from that mainstream media narrative, and there's a lot of pride to be swallowed. There's a lot of mistakes that were made, even down to the personal level, by individuals that got COVID shots, that got boosters, that masked, that social distance, that lockdown, and really, they do not want to admit or that they were wrong, or to face the fact that the federal government could do something like this.
So now the reason why I think this guy is allowed to testify and he wasn't killed in the parking lot, which is how they do it, is because they know nothing's going to happen, and they know that the media responsible for bringing this to your attention is corrupted 100% by Big Pharma, because 70% of their budget gets funded by Big Pharma. So that's why this guy's, because they know it's going to amount to nothing. And it is going to amount to nothing, because Dr. Fauci, as I said before, has the pardon going back to 2014. And the statute of limitations for him lying to Congress, which is a felony, about funding this research, has already just expired on Monday. So
that is correct.
So they know that there's nothing going to come of it. So why expend the energy to go and kill this guy? And let's let this guy be a whistleblower and go tell the truth about it, because half the country's not going to believe him anyway, and the media is not going to report it. Right?
Well, the media won't report it, or they will report it as him as being some type of fearmonger.
Yes.
There are states that are looking directly, 7 states looking at prosecuting Fauci directly at the state level. I don't know how the federal pardon has bearing on those particular state actions. I'm hoping that there is no bearing, and that Fauci can be brought to justice directly. But Jimmy, I'm loath to say, I think you're absolutely correct. The reason why this slipped through, the reason why this was allowed to happen, is because the mainstream media and the engine behind the mainstream media allowed it to happen.
And so I like, this is a great, it's, instead of just exposing crimes all day, every day, can we get to the part where the criminals are arrested and justice is served? Not happening. It's not happening with the Epstein files. It's not happening with Russiagate. It's not happening with the Syrian gas attacks, which we now reveal that they just admitted that was all a lie. And that was, which was based the Syrian war on. And now who's running Syria? The ex-ISIS, head of ISIS, chief head chopper. So here's another one. Trust the science. Coercion is not science. Withholding data is not science. Manipulating data is not science. Fear-mongering is not science. Pharma propaganda is not science. And the compulsive liar who was complicit in the development of COVID does not represent science. He represents evil. And I stand by that 1,000%. Would you have a quibble with that?
No, I would not. I want to see Fauci brought to justice. I want to see the other individuals brought to justice. Ralph Barrick was finally removed from his position at the University of North Carolina and his funding through the National Institutes of Health cut. But why did it take so long? Why has it taken so long? And really, Barrick is a pawn. I mean, when you look at Barrick, when you look at some of the other individuals that were involved in, the actual ins and outs, the nuts and bolts of the gain of function research, the kingpins were the Faucis of the world, were the Francis Collins of the world, that were orchestrating, this particular cover up. And, I think it's high time that people need to know, in addition, that these are bioweapons. These are not, when you look at gain of function research and when you look at HHS saying, oh, well, this is for universal vaccination, or this is to protect against the pandemic potential of Hantavirus or SARS-CoV-2 or monkeypox becoming the next pandemic, we have to do this research. No, it's straight up bioweapons, and it's a straight up incestuous relationship between the intelligence community, the Department of Defense, and HHS.
Just like Lyme disease was invented by the CIA through most likely Dr. Fauci, they have another very similar that you get from a tick, which makes you allergic to red meat. So these are bioweapons that they could then unleash on their enemies, so then their enemies can't eat. And if they eat, they get violently sick. So what Fauci does at the same time you're developing these bioweapons, you develop a vaccine for them so you can give that to your own soldiers. So that's why there was a vaccine ready to go. So they also wanted to get the mRNA vaccine platform into circulation, even though it was never every time they tested it, it killed all the animals they tested it on. Is that right?
That is correct. When they tested this mRNA technology, it was not successful, and they did not want to go through all the bells and whistles, all the hoops it needs to jump through if they would have called it a gene therapy, which is what it was. And so the way that they trotted this out was through, the fear porn of this pandemic and making, 7 billion individuals line up with, their sleeves up off of their arms so they could take this willingly and happily in some, in some fatalistic effort that it was going to prevent SARS-CoV-2, which we know it didn't.
And not only did it not prevent, it didn't stop the transmission. It didn't stop the contraction, which is what they said. And it did not have a 95 or 100% efficacy in treating COVID, like they said, because they were using relative risk. They weren't using absolute risk, which is a trick of statistics to make you think that it was 95% effective when it was actually maybe 1% effective, right?
That is correct. The most conservative estimates show that for one case of COVID to have been prevented, 142 people would have had to been vaccinated against SARS-CoV-2 using that vaccine platform when it was the most effective. We remember these vaccines also wore off. They wore off very quickly, and that's why we had boosters ad infinitum every 6 months. Get your booster because your vaccine is worn off. The virus is mutated, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And now in hindsight, we know that the more boosters individuals got, the more susceptible they were to getting COVID.
Well, we know that as a fact.
Yes, we do.
Was that from the Cleveland Clinic study?
Precisely. The Cleveland Clinic did a study on its own employees in its health network, and it found that individuals that got 3 or more boosters were 3.7 times more likely to get the COVID virus get the COVID virus than those that were not vaccinated at all.
And so, but if you go and ask Grok about that study, it will give you false information. Correct. I've tried it. It will. They'll say, no, that study didn't say that. That study got debunked. That study got this. That study got. But there was never that's the way the corrupt. People don't realize that the medical industry is 100% corrupted. It's corrupted by big pharma money. It's corrupted by government money through Fauci and people like that. It's 100%, and the medical journals themselves, right? That's what I learned through COVID. Did you learn that through COVID also?
They are corrupted. You know, I knew that before COVID because I had been talking about vaccines and vaccine injuries since, the late 1990s, early 2000s. But, the majority of individuals didn't really have a reason to suspect the vaccine program, to suspect vaccines until they trotted out the COVID-19 shot and the COVID-19 virus itself, and stoked a bunch of fear porn and promulgated a bunch of lies onto society. So, but we know the medical journals are gobbled up by the pharmaceutical industry. Medical journals are run by university professors. The university professors get their grant monies from the National Institutes of Health, from HHS, which was largely captured by the pharmaceutical industry long ago.
And what people don't realize, the shock, I live in Hollywood, which in West Hollywood is a big gay population. And what they don't realize, even though I've screamed at it from the top of the mountains, is that there's a movie called the Dallas Buyers Club, which, and that movie, which Matthew McConaughey won the Academy Award for, it showed that the government was keeping treatments away from people with AIDS that would help them because they wanted to push certain drugs that they could make money off of, like remdesivir and AZT, stuff like that. Am I right about that?
That is correct. AZT was a killer. AZT did not pass clinical trials except for the fact that they cheated, and they actually changed the results of the clinical trials. Reported individuals, gay men who died from AZT toxicity, they reported them dying from HIV/AIDS instead. So yeah, I couldn't recommend that more. I think you're right on the money, Jimmy. Dallas Buyers Club, if you want to know the fingerprint of Fauci in terms of, what these men had to go through to get effective drugs that were being shown to be effective overseas, vis-a-vis what was being peddled on them in the United States, which was a very, very toxic drug that was highly overdosed, and it was called AZT.
And it's just, and I have shown video on my show of gay activists storming Fauci's offices and building because he would not help them. And it's just crazy to me to see, some 25, 30 years later, that there are still people in the LGBT community who support Anthony Fauci, which makes me question whether they were ever gay to begin with, or they just wanted to work in Hollywood, if you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, that to me, that's the biggest shocker. There's a movie made about it. Matthew McConaughey starred in it. The bad guy in that movie was Dr. Fauci, and they just wiped that from their brain. They just memory hold it, as George Orwell taught us, that people, and they just they don't have any. And of course, Matthew McConaughey, who starred in the movie, won't even talk about it.
No.
I know.
No, they won't talk about it. And in fact, during the making of Dallas Buyers Club, they actually scaled back with the original screenplay because nobody could buy the fact that Fauci was as evil as he was written into the original screenplay. And so really, Dallas Buyers Club is almost a whitewash of the dastardly deeds that he achieved. And achieved by also making himself rich, making his buddies rich off of this very, very hastily thrown together drug that was supposed to stop the replication of retroviruses. And it was so unfortunate that individuals had to live through this, that individuals died, because of AZT. and that that this was not squashed at the very beginning. And I know people in the LGBTQ community that are in that laud Fauci, that think Fauci was their savior because of AZT. But you know what? None of them take AZT. None of them even know what that drug is anymore. They just know that through the lore, through the lies, that Fauci has been lauded as a hero.
And what drives me crazy is that the people who bought the COVID narrative 100% and slandered people like me for telling the truth about COVID, and everything I said has been proven to be true, and everything that they said has been proven to be a lie, that those people at some point stopped, and they told us not to do your own research, because that's a danger. With the first time in history that people on the left said, don't question big pharma, don't question the government, just do what the man on the TV says. That's the first time in history that happened. It happened. And those people, though, at some point did start thinking for themselves, because most people stop taking their boosters at some point. They're being told to take the boosters, and then they stop. So they did start to do their own research and started to distrust the government and big pharma at some point. What do you know what the actual uptake on the COVID booster is at this point? Is it less than 10%?
It's 6.2%. for the latest COVID booster. And so that means that 93.6% is not getting boosted for SARS-CoV-2 or whatever the latest circulating strain is of this, RNA virus that essentially it causes the sniffles. I've heard of people getting COVID recently. They had some fancy name for the new strain, calico, or I don't even remember what the name of the strain was, but it's essentially the sniffles. It's mutated itself expectedly. What RNA viruses or RNA rhinoviruses or adenoviruses or coronaviruses do, they get less and less severe as they mutate. So we're basically getting boosted for the sniffles.
Okay. I had a lot more I wanted to show you. This video here is kind of amazing that Mays put together about all the lies from Dr. Fauci. I really don't have time to play it, but I played it before on the show. It's stunning. I just want to say thanks for making time for us today, Brian. I appreciate it. Children's Health Defense, the book Vax Unvax, Let the Science Speak, New York Times bestseller. And it's you go to childrenshealthdefense.org if you want to support that organization. They've been on the forefront of exposing Fauci as the liar and the big pharma, and you all do great work. Anything you'd like to say before we say goodbye?
Well, thank you for shedding light on this. I'm so thankful for your show, for others that very, very bravely show the truth over and over again, and also for the CIA whistleblower for stepping up. He was subpoenaed, but the CIA did not support him coming forward. And so he had his entire agency. He's still a CIA employee, by the way. He's not a former employee of the CIA. So he's risking a lot by being a whistleblower. We know that whistleblower protections are not great. But again, Jimmy, thank you so much for covering this.
And it's, while I have you here, can we cover this story?
Sure.
So Hantavirus is all the rage now, and they're using the same playbook. They're trying to scare everybody. CNN's talking about lockdowns. Moderna has a vaccine in the works for this, right? And again, you got a better chance of being hit by lightning, a 6-time better chance of being hit by lightning than you do of catching Hantavirus. That's according to Dr. Robert Malone, who, by the way, was right about everything about COVID. So I'm willing to trust him on it. And so here's another one of these fake, the thing that get caught lying. So here they are all dressed in hazmat suits. But guess what? There's going to be a guy without a hazmat suit just going to walk right up into him. Let's watch. You can turn that down. So they're look, it's super scary. Oh, here comes a guy. No hazmat suit, no nothing. Not even a gas mask, no nothing. There's another guy. There's another guy there. He's just wearing regular clothes.
Right.
Isn't that, it's kind of amazing. He doesn't even have gloves on. So there's two guys just kind of stumble into this. Meanwhile, everybody else is dressed like they're on the moon. And they're doing it again because you didn't hang them last time.
Precisely.
So, so when you see a video like, what do you, let me show it again. Let's just show it again. So here they are all dressed up like they're fighting Ebola on the moon. And there's a guy just walking right by, nothing. And then here's another guy. It's just amazing to me. He's picking up all their stuff, putting it in a bag. He doesn't even have gloves on. He doesn't have a hazmat suit on. This is amazing. He doesn't have gloves on. So what is, when you see something like this, Brian, what does this tell you about Hantavirus and what's happening?
Well, first of all, Hantavirus is not transmissible by respiratory droplets, and it's very, very rarely transmissible between humans. There's a variant called Andes that is transmissible between humans, but it's much more fecal oral than it is through respiratory droplets. So, you know, this is all for the cameras. You know, all of this is to stoke more fear porn. You know, even Fauci has surfaced recently saying that we need to practice masking, social distancing, something that he told us earlier that was a lie. He's now going back on his lying, saying, oh, hantavirus, you know, it's a big deal. It's a big problem. It could be spreadable. But, you know, they're basically greasing their own palms, you know, trying to get more money from pandemic fear porn potential. And all of this, again, it's to get us to comply. It's to get us to buy more masks. It's to get us to buy into the vaccine construct. So we get more mRNA vaccines, this time for hantavirus rather than for SARS-CoV-2. And again, you know, we need to bring these individuals to justice, and there needs to be an example of those individuals that deceived us before, made before society, like you said, so it doesn't happen again. I mean, you know, it's the same playbook. They tried this with bird flu. They tried it with mpox. Now they're trying it with hantavirus. They're just throwing a bunch of crap against the wall to see what sticks.
And what do you make of people like when Bill Gates, and he's not a doctor, he didn't even finish college, when Bill Gates, who somehow everybody goes to for their information about vaccines and viruses, even though the guy's he's not a doctor, he's not a virologist, he didn't even finish college, but he does have billions of dollars. So everybody listens to this guy for some reason. But what do you think when he was on TV? He was on The View a year ago, and he was saying there's another pandemic coming. What do you make of when guys like that do stuff like that?
Like, what in the heck does he know?
Right.
You know, maybe if he was behind the planning of event 201, then he knew something before. What does he know now? And why in the heck does he know it and not, you know, the individuals that could actually curtail this in its tracks? I mean, I'm sick of being jerked around as a society, you know, and this was clearly a fact. It was a lab leak. It was a lab release. We don't know if it was an intentional release. Most days I feel like it was more of an intentional than an accidental release. I don't think this was some happy accident, especially the way the virus came in waves, and especially the way that they were so set up to take care of this with the vaccine and to quell any type of, you know, alternative technology, ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine. I think that this was all a plan. And if this was a plan before, why in the hell is Bill Gates on the TV telling me a year ago, oh, well, we're going to try this plan again?
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's because we didn't hang them last time. That's why.
Precisely.
Okay, Brian, I appreciate you coming on again. Thanks, brother, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much, Jimmy. Good to see you.
Good to see you. All right, we're going to let's take a break, and we'll be right back. Bye. You want to hear the truth about Conan O'Brien? Here's the truth about Conan O'Brien. He went to Israel to do a puff piece on the genocidal state of Israel and the genocidal maniac, the biggest murderer of children since Hitler, Benjamin Netanyahu. And guess who called him out on it? Zach, did you know this? Did you know the guy you're fucking talking to went and did a tongue bath to a genocidal maniac who murders children on the regular? Guess who called him out? Israel newspapers called him out.
Yeah.
Israeli newspapers called him out. This is Haaretz. In Israel, Conan O'Brien became a patsy for Netanyahu's propaganda. Whoa!
The point of this exercise
is to prove that I don't have a soul, to prove that I don't have a conscience, and to prove that I'm willing to prop up a genocidal regime who is the cancer of the world because I am from Harvard and I actually lack balls and courage. That's what the point of this is. But this is what he says it is.
Ladies, the point of this exercise is to see if I am fit for the Israeli army. Is that correct?
Yes.
I have quick moves.
Yes.
Yeah. Would any of that be good in a fight?
Fight with clowns.
What do you mean I'm a mess? You're supposed to build up my confidence, not say I'm a mess. You know, if a battle started now, I would be all day putting on...
If a battle started now, you'd be with them slaughtering children.
This knee pad. I'll be right there. You got him. Almost there. Hold on. Almost there, and the battle's over. The battle's over.
Oh my God.
Let's be honest, I look like a chef. All right, what do I do?
Let's remember, he's in a country, people will say, yeah, but Jimmy, they didn't do the genocide until after he did this video. They were already slaughtering Palestinians on the regular. The whole country was based on a Nakba, which is a slaughter, a genocide of the people of Palestine. They kicked almost 1 million people out of their houses, raped, pillaged, and killed them. And the people who did that, who founded Israel, they are now deemed terrorist organizations. And who did that? That's legit. It's founded by terrorists with terrorism, and they've been occupying Palestine for 70 frickin' years and slaughtering them. They're an occupied people. They're the colonial settlers. They're the occupiers. And so just don't give me that shit. This was before.
All right, back to Jimmy. You're live.
So, Benjamin Netanyahu, or you know him as the genocidal maniac. That's how I know him, a genocider. If you want to know what a guy who commits genocide looks like, that's it. A guy.
But his name means gift from God.
A guy who slaughters babies. That's what a guy looks like.
A gift from God.
So Megyn Kelly caught this. Bibi implies that everyone who posts a mean comment about Israel on social media is part of a bot farm. And for some reason, 60 Minutes edited that part out of their interview. So let's watch Megyn Kelly. Let's watch this, and then we'll get Megyn Kelly to talk about it.
Interview in substantive ways.
What happened? Okay. Here we go.
Interview in substantive ways. The interview began with Bibi saying the war is not over. And here's an extended version that's slightly longer than what you might have seen if you watched 60 Minutes last night.
Is the war with Iran over? And if it isn't, who will decide when it is?
I think it accomplished a great deal, but it's not over because there's still nuclear material, enriched uranium that has to be taken out of Iran. There's still enrichment sites that have to be dismantled. There's still proxies that Iran supports. There are ballistic missiles that they still want to produce. Now, we've degraded a lot of it, but all of that is still there, and there's work to be done.
How do you envision the highly enriched uranium will be removed from Iran?
You go in and you take it out.
With what? Special forces from Israel? Special forces from the United States?
Well, I'm not going to talk about military means, but what President Trump has said...
I'm not going to talk about military means because it's going to be all American kids doing it. It's not going to be Israelis. That's why
we suck. We can't fight in Lebanon. We're getting killed by sheep drones from Lebanon. Obviously, we're not going to do Shabbos Goy work.
That's exactly right. Not with our soldiers, with your soldiers and your money. Okay.
There you go, you Shabbos pigs.
I want to go in there, and I think it can be done physically. That's not the problem. If you have an agreement and you go in and you take it out, why not? That's the best way.
What if there isn't an agreement? Can it be taken out by force?
Well, you're going to ask me these questions. I'm going to dodge them because I'm not going to talk about our military possibilities, plans, or anything of the kind.
And I'm just trying to get at how long is it going to take to achieve that aim?
I'm not going to give a timetable to it, but I'm going to say that's a terrifically important mission.
I mean, okay. Our president doesn't seem to have the appetite for this.
I like what the Space Ape says. Holy crap, foreign prime minister just told American media, your war isn't over. and casually floated sending your sons into Iran to grab uranium. So a foreign leader sets the mission, dodges the means, refuses a timeline, and your kids fight it. Your taxes fund it. Your dollar inflates for it. This is Israel dictating your foreign policy. Reject it. I'm with you. There's more. So here's the second part. Here's the second thing that they edited. Let's listen.
New York Times on April 7th reported the following about a fateful meeting, February 11th, in the White House. And the New York Times reports as follows, quote, in the Situation Room on February 11th, Mr. Netanyahu made a hard sell, suggesting that Iran was ripe for regime change and expressing the belief that a joint U.S.-Israeli mission could finally bring an end to the Islamic Republic.
So this is when Trump decided, they're talking about the meeting at the White House War Room when Trump decided to go to war with Iran, and it was all because of this guy. This is what he's talking about. Let's listen.
Is that correct?
No, that's actually incorrect because...
In what ways is it incorrect?
It's incorrect in the sense that I said, oh, well, it's guaranteed, we can do it, and so on. I didn't say that. We both understood that we have little time to act because otherwise they'll get nuclear weapons. We both understood that we have little time to act because otherwise they'll bury underground their ballistic missile capabilities. But while we said that part of the action would be the removal of the leadership and other measures, there was uncertainty. And we said it. All of this, is uncertain. If you ever, engage in military...
in the confines of that conversation, you noted the uncertainty.
Not only did I note it, we both agreed, that there was both uncertainty and risk involved.
Okay, got it. Now he wants to underscore that he was really clear with President Trump on the risk and uncertainty around his plan. His assurances that we could take out the Ayatollah and effect regime change. Easy. 3-4 days. Tops. Now he wants you all to know he was really clear on the risk and uncertainty that he advised the president of. Okay, so it's Trump's fault. That's really what he's saying.
Yep.
He advised of the risk and Trump overruled him. Is that true?
Yep.
Or is he possibly overstating the amount of caution that he laced his remarks in? And here's an important answer here. Netanyahu on why America and Israel did not anticipate Iran doing the one thing that has changed this entire conflict and indeed has changed Iran's standing in the war, in the world. Iran, it's now calling itself a global superpower, and it's not the only one. I've seen very smart military analysts say, unfortunately, that's become true, and that's the Strait of Hormuz. Why didn't we anticipate? Israel didn't anticipate it, and the United States apparently didn't take it seriously. The reports are that Trump didn't believe they could do it, and that Netanyahu had told him it wasn't realistic. But they've done it. They've done it, and it's the thing that is holding everything up. It's holding up the closure.
So there you go. Why didn't they anticipate that they would do that? Why didn't they know that they were going to close the Strait of Hormuz? What? There's no answer for that. But so those were the long versions of both of those clips. They only aired short versions of those clips on CBS.
Jimmy, I think they did know that they would close the Strait of Hormuz.
I think they did know.
Because that's how we got into World War II, by cocking around with people's oil, right?
Yep. They knew exactly. So, but there was another thing that they cut out completely. I think this is it. Megyn Kelly might talk about it. Let's listen.
Last night, these two moments from the last two sound bites, they were...
So those last two sound bites I showed you, they only, that's the long version. They only aired the short version. Here we go.
Last night, these two moments from the last two sound bites, they were shortened, they were combined as if they happened back to back, the with the phone. Now, they didn't include the comment about how Israel will be fighting back. They teased they will use the same tactics to fight fire with fire on the social media front. Well, they're doing it. Okay, they're doing that. Bibi said it several times throughout the full interview, but none of that made the broadcast version. So why didn't that go in there? Why? There were also several references by Netanyahu to the Americans turning against Israel, saying that they also hate America. Oh, they do? Okay. So according to Netanyahu, if you are against Israel and its tactics militarily, you hate your own country here in America. You hate America.
That's what Netanyahu said, and Barry Weiss and CBS cut it out.
This is a talking point we've seen from the prominent pro-Israel media voices in the past few weeks. It seems to be like a new favorite. All of those references were cut from the broadcast version of the interview. Why? Why did Barry Weiss and her CBS cut from the interview of Netanyahu all the references by Netanyahu attacking Americans who have questions about Israel as anti-American? Is it possible they believed that might make him look bad and further alienate Americans?
Yeah, that's exactly why they did that.
They're losing Sam Harris.
No.
That's how bad it's gotten. Yeah.
No,
They're
what? How
losing
so?
Sam Brain Dead Harris. Yeah. Go, it's on, what's his name? I keep calling him PF Young. PF Chang or Jung. PF Young. He had the clips of Sam Harris and them talking about it. So many Israelis have left Israel. Who's there? The hardcore faithful maniacs? So no, they're not happy with Netanyahu. There's no way the war is going to end. That's the main thing. The main thing is something's going to happen, and the war is going to continue because Israel has a secret base in Iraq that they just built. Remember that?
Yeah, well,
just killed some Iraqis.
So Trump might not want to attack Iran anymore, but Israel is going to continue.
Trump's not in charge of shit.
That's right. So Israel will continue to attack Iran, and even if Trump doesn't, because we're basically out of missiles and stuff. I don't know if people know that. And Iran is not. Iran has probably 100% more missiles than the CIA said they did and Trump said they did. So
there's no way to explain us having better intel than the president of the United States other than this is intentional. There's no other way to explain it.
So Iran holds all the cards, just as Megyn Kelly said. They're now being referred to as a superpower because of this war.
Wait, they have nukes?
And they're going to control the Strait of Hormuz because of this. So everything went bad. Everything went bad for the United States and nothing good. And because Donald Trump is owned by Israel, the Zionist lobby, and Benjamin Netanyahu. And that's just a fact. And I don't care what any other podcaster you listen to. Stop listening to Fox News and stop listening to those people. The people who tell you Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk, stop listening to those people. Those people are obviously being paid by somebody. It's certainly because there's no other explanation for it. They're being paid by either Israel directly, they're either being paid by Miriam Adelson or a Jewish donor or AIPAC. They're being paid to wreck their own shows. And it's worth it to them. That's how much money they're being paid. You know, Israel just said they're going to spend $1 billion on PR. That's just them admitting. That's what they're admitting that Israel itself is spending. That's not Miriam Adelson. That's not AIPAC. That's not all the other Jewish billionaires. That's
Peter Thiel, how about him?
So that's just that. Imagine how many millions and millions of dollars these podcasters are getting to lie to you about Charlie Kirk's death, Tyler Robinson, the Iran war, and Trump and everything else. Imagine they must be getting millions and millions of dollars because doesn't make any sense that they would say any of this stuff because none of it makes sense.
If you're compromised, by the way, you won't engage with the idea that this is a setup, which, by the way, Joe Rogan does do. So that's how you know he's not compromised.
Right.
You're compromised if you go, oh, stop with you. If I start gaslighting you about the 30-06 thing with Tyler Robinson, like all these liars do, the second someone does that, you know they're your enemy and they hate you and they work for a traitor. And they're a traitor.
Anybody telling you Charlie Robinson, pushing the FBI narrative of Charlie Kirk, anybody doing that with a show is 100% on the take, being bribed, and is compromised 100%. And I'm not saying a little money. I'm not saying $7,000. I'm saying probably to the tune of millions of dollars. The bigger the platform, the more millions they're getting.
Now, do I think Thiel, I heard.
What's that?
Schellenberger, why he's no good, is a Peter Thiel guy.
Oh, there you go. So that's why
I thought Mossad, but
Schellenberger's lying to you left and right about all things and it all goes back to Israel. He's lying to you about Charlie Kirk and Tyler Robinson. He's lying to you about Epstein. He's lying to you about Epstein killing himself. Everything he's lying to you about goes back to Israel. So he is compromised. So and the bigger, more prominent they are, the more money they're getting. And it's not a little money because it's got to be a lot of money for them to completely wreck their reputations for it.
Or their reputation, they were always, you ever see The Departed? Or they were put in school from the very start to be who they are and where they are now.
Or that. Well, Charlie was, And then Charlie woke up to that he was one of those people, and Charlie went against it, and that's why they killed him. Charlie woke up to the fact that he was one big Zionist operation. His whole TPUSA was designed for Zionism. He woke up to that, and as soon as he did, and he went against it, and he rejected their money, they killed him. That's exactly what happened.
He was supposed to be president.
And he was going to be president. And so they can't have that. And so now, so again, anybody pushing this Fed slop is getting, I've got to imagine it's got to be at least millions and millions, because these people make millions of dollars on their own shows a year, right? Now, I don't know about PBD. I think he's just a Zionist. I don't think he's taking money because he's got all the money in the world already, right? So I just think that's just the way the gears work for him. He's just a Zionist.
Like a billionaire thinks. You know how billionaires think that billionaires are good and it's a thing we should still have?
So I think everybody else except him. Because I don't think you could buy him. He's got all the money in the world, and that's just what he thinks. And he will bring on people on his own show to debate him, which those other people won't. They won't bring anybody credible enough to wipe the floor with them, right? They're not going to bring on Max Blumenthal. They're not going to bring on Baron Coleman. They're not going to.
Sometimes people are just wrong too. Besides being a shill,
Yeah.
The best thing is if you're just wrong, which is a lot easier to do. But the way you do it is with controlled people that lead people into just being wrong, and because everybody is trained to, who do you like? I like PBD or I don't like him. I don't like Megyn Kelly, so I don't. And so everybody's trained to be a high school idiot.
Yes.
That's what we have school for, to turn you into this stupid thing everyone is. So that's why they go, oh, you believe Candace Owens?
Oh, my God.
No, it has nothing to do with her.
No,
really.
I believe the evidence. I believe the evidence, and she happens to believe the evidence, too.
We do not owe the government the presume they're innocent. We owe the government to presume they're guilty. That's why we get the presumption of innocence.
Right.
Because it's presuming the government is going to be guilty if we don't have that. So Michael Schellenberger, that piece of garbage, making Alan Dershowitz arguments about how I'm not allowed to jump to conclusions about the scum that go to Epstein Island. Go fuck you. Oh, Joe Rogan never went. The one guy that never went, by the way.
That's right.
Well, two people never went. I forget the other one, but Joe, he told me about it a long time ago. Lawrence Krauss tried to lure him there. So I don't hear he's compromised compared to all the other people you think are good. This is America. It's the land of the plumed serpent, devil country. Everyone's compromised because they live here. That's what it is.
Okay. All right. Now we're going to bring on Angela McArdle to talk about the war against crypto. And we'll be
about Free Joby.
It's not.
That's what I've been hearing that a lot lately.
Yeah. All right. We'll be back. Kurt, we'll bring you back after this brief interview.
Bye.
live.
Hey everybody, welcome back. We're not going to Rumble today because Rumble's having tech problems, so we're staying on the YouTubes. We have special guest with us right now. Angela McArdle is a political figure, paralegal who served as the 22nd chair of the Libertarian National Committee from May 22nd to February 25. Since June 25, she has been the chair of the Mrs. Caucus Political Action Committee. She's also a former congressional candidate for California's 34th District and co-founder of the Rage Against the War Machine Coalition. Welcome to the show, Angela McArdle. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back.
It's great to see you. So you wanted to come in and talk about the war on crypto, right?
Yeah, I'm doing some heavy lifting, trying to get some pardons for some of these Bitcoin and crypto guys who have been wrongfully targeted by the Biden administration and just did not, their pardons just haven't made it across President Trump's desk yet.
So tell me about this war on crypto. Why is the feds, why are they against the crypto, and what's this war about?
Well, I think it's debatable as to whether or not they still are. I think there's a big split in the DOJ. You've got a lot of people still in the DOJ who are holdovers from the Biden administration, and their view on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is that it essentially enables people to have financial control over their own lives, which is a big no-no. And, most of the guys here on this list, like the guys who developed the Samurai wallet, which is a non-custodial Bitcoin wallet. And for your Bitcoin fans, they'll understand what that is. Like these guys also enabled people to have privacy. So if you know anything about Bitcoin and most, but not all crypto, your transactions are in a public ledger. And so, these guys wanted you to be able to have, private financial exchanges just like you would with cash, with the sanctioned United States currency. And so there are a lot of holdovers in the DOJ who, in my humble, non-official opinion, maybe should have been fired. And they're big mad, and they just want to continue to wage this holy jihad against your financial freedom and financial privacy.
So you're saying that the federal government under Biden went after some crypto pioneers and put them in jail. We had one on the show. What was it? Joby Weeks? Yeah, remember that?
Yeah.
And so he's still on house arrest, correct? Yeah.
Yep.
So, but there's more than just him. There's this. There's
at least 60 people on my list. But in addition to Joby,
really,
who's
that
definitely
many? Wow.
Yeah. There's I'd say there's another 5 who I feel really solid about. I've reviewed their cases. I've spoken with their attorneys. I think it's all above board. You've got the Samurai wallet developers who unfortunately reported into prison in December. Tried really hard to get things, stopped. And maybe there will be some change now that Pam Bondi is no longer in charge.
Oh yeah, because
it's terrible.
Because the new AG is so fantastic, boy.
Well, he's starting to do things though, which is a good,
Like
doing
what?
the things, I think going after the SPLC, he's doing a thing, so we've got a thing now as opposed to not any things. So maybe he'll continue to do things. I remain ever fatally optimistic, diplomatic, sweet and friendly on that front. So you have Samurai Wallet. You've got Tornado Cash. This poor guy, Roman Storm. Tornado Cash is essentially the Ethereum version of Samurai Wallet. It's a non-custodial privacy software tool for Ethereum. And he went all the way through trial the end of last year, hung jury, and the prosecutor, after months of deliberation, decided, you know what? Let's try him again.
Oh, no.
It's so insane. It costs millions of dollars. And most of these cases, not all, but most of them are through the Southern District of New York, which is fascinating, right? Because that's the district that went after Ross Ulbricht. That's the district that went after President Trump. That's the district that just they're their own little Mordor up there. They're their own.
So you would think
Mount Doom.
You think Trump would be sympathetic and his DOJ would be sympathetic, but yet they're not moving on this. What do you make of it?
Yeah, I think that one of the issues is and I've continued to maintain a really good relationship with them, especially because of these issues, is everybody's fighting for the number 1 slot. You've got Iran war. You've got immigration stuff. You've got fraud cases. You've got, you've got redistricting. You've got an endless list of people jockeying to be the number one issue on the president's desk. So we just have to fight harder to be number one.
So it's not the people in the government that have some kind of hard-on for crypto people. It's the people who control the people in government who are making them do this. So who are those people? Is it the bankers?
Oh, certainly bankers are not really friendly about it. Although they're late adopters because they see that it is to a certain degree unstoppable. So they want to secure their bag. They want people to start putting crypto and Bitcoin into their bank accounts because they don't want to get left behind. But I don't think that there's a big incentive. And this is a problem with the Bitcoin and crypto communities as well. I don't think there's a big incentive to adopt the framing of no man left behind. They're like, well, that sucks, but maybe we should just pursue the Clarity Act. Let's just try to get industry and government on board going forward. And, with all due respect, what is your Clarity Act and all of your banking and infrastructure? What good is it if the government can still selectively go after developers, accuse them of financial crimes when they didn't commit a crime? All they did was write software and make it available for download. That's insanity. It's really a free speech issue.
So, and you're a libertarian, so that's why you probably care about this. But so is this something people can do about this? Tell me about this.
Yes. So we're holding this event in connection with the Libertarian National Convention next week in Grand Rapids. We are holding an event. A portion of these proceeds are going to go to help with the legal funds. Keone Rodriguez, this is his wife, Lauren, is in prison. He's serving 5 years, which is really atrocious. He's got over $2 million in unpaid legal fees. We want to help him out. I am essentially doing pardon advocacy work for him and a handful of others. A couple of them are paying me. Most of them cannot. And so, I'm throwing in my time, energy, everything I got to try to get these pardons over the finish line. I'm sucking it up. I'm just like anything that's got to be done. So we're asking people to show up, certainly donate directly to them. Lynn is going to be there, Ross's mother, talking about her experience. Ian Freeman is another one that's really important. He's in New Hampshire. Aaron Day is basically running a Senate campaign, a spoiler campaign to raise awareness for him, which is really crazy and exciting in New Hampshire. So we want people to come to the event. We want people to donate. We want people to start writing letters to the president, postcards. I think we can do it because we spearheaded the effort to get this pardon over the finish line for Ross Ulbricht. There was a lot of community support from the Bitcoin community as well. We need them to do it again. People for some reason are just not, they're more hesitant this time. They're like, oh, well, we don't want to step in it politically. We don't want to be risky. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And I just think, it's a shame that people in the Bitcoin community wouldn't put their name on an open letter to the president. We've got that circulating too. It's essentially on all hands on deck, I think, to save these people's lives and to keep this industry from basically just saying, whatever, we'll check out and go to El Salvador. Because that's a shame too. Yes. Well, and is there a website that you want to direct people to? Yeah, cryptoprisoners.com. Cryptoprisoners.com. There's a link at the bottom there for anybody who wants to pause or screenshot. You can get a ticket there. Mises Delicate will give you a heavy discount code. We do want to charge a good amount so that we can actually donate, a good chunk of our proceeds to these guys in their legal battle. I think Roman Storm of Tornado Cash, by the way, I think he's racked up $10 million in legal fees. And of course, they take everything. Yeah. They take everything. You can go from having millions of dollars to just nothing. Right. And I'm sure that Joby probably talked about that as well. So that's happening in Grand Rapids next weekend. And yes. Something else so here also something, I was a part of one of these. Yes. Rage Against the War Machine is happening 3.0. That's an anti-war event in Grand Rapids. That's happening Sunday, May 24th. So tell people about this. The gang is getting back together. They're holding an anti-war event. They're very excited about it. I've been so overwhelmed with my crypto stuff that I haven't been able to dig in and be fully devoted on this one. But I wanted to give it a shout out because I know how important it is, and this is something that I know would really resonate with your listeners. They're holding a smaller, scaled down, but still very awesome version of this event on Sunday, May 24th in Grand Rapids. Joe Kent is going to be the star speaker, along with Scott Horton, Dan McKnight. I believe Garland Nixon's going to be there, and a whole long list of other speakers.
So why do you who are they who's putting this on?
The organizers for Rage Against the War Machine, Tim Miller of the Mises Caucus, the Maryland Libertarian Party, some of the Schiller Institute people, some good guys.
That's where they didn't reach out to me.
I think I think they would probably love to have you, and they're on a little bit of a tight budget and scrambling to pull everything together quickly.
I didn't charge them the last time I did it. I flew myself out, did this for free. I've been donating my time, so that doesn't make sense. But unfortunately, I will be out of town. I'll be on tour at that time, so I couldn't make it anyway. But that is very, very weird to me that they didn't reach out to me. Anyway,
well,
and they didn't even ask to come on the show, so that's really weird. That's not coalition building, as far as I know.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm doing what I can. You know, I'm here, kind of on their behalf, trying to help them out.
Yeah, and they're not here on their own behalf. Isn't that weird? I think that's very weird. I wonder what that's about.
Shoestring skeleton crew.
Mm-hmm.
But the ones that care and that are invested are doing the thing.
Okay. All right. Angela, good luck on your crypto war. Good luck with your event next weekend in Grand Rapids. And it's always good to see you. Thanks for coming on, and keep fighting a good fight.
Thanks so much.
Okay. Over to Steph.
All righty. Thank you so much. That was great. Very informative. You know, I saw a couple people say, I just deal with cash. You know, when I go out and I go to a place and they don't accept cash, I feel stuck.
Yeah.
You know, because I might have just ordered something. But let me tell you, I won't go back. I don't want to go back to those places. And, you know, also I feel bad, that the whole idea of like when you go to Target or you go to CVS and they don't have enough checkers, and then you're like, well, I'll just go to the self-serve. You know, if we do that, we undermine the workforce. And so like, I'm really trying hard not to do self-checkout. I really, really hard. Really. Am I the only one? All right, folks, here we go. Wow, look at you guys. Finally made it to the top of the Rumble live page. Finally getting somewhere, eh? Also, I had no idea Misha's mom was so into crypto. Corn pop. Funny corn pop. All right, let me remove that one. Can you move your mic just a bit away from where you are? Okay, here we go. Explain why Tyler was running if he didn't do it. Robert wants to know, is that for us to explain? Tim Gibson, what are you doing, Tim? Thank you for your generosity, amigo. Curb should talk directly to Dan instead of his normal believe whatever he sees on YouTube. Dan's absolutely a net positive. Well, thank you for putting it that way, Flick Off. That's very nice of you. BlackRock owned the property in Butler, Pennsylvania that the kid got shot at. B-man. When are you going to change your show name to Some Guy Show? Funny, Roger. 33 is on Jimmy's mind a lot. Jimmy is 33rd level bricklayer mason. Dan. Really? Let's see here. Next one. Jimmy, what's your relationship? It's interesting. Jim, will you give me a plain background because you're going to answer this? Jimmy, what's your relationship with, or what are your thoughts on Leno? I thought he was pretty funny even within the confines of corporate late night. Roger. Jim?
Jay Leno is what they claim he is. He's a frickin' all-around good guy. I knew people who wrote for him, and he was my favorite. He was possibly my favorite comedian when he was just a stand-up before he took over the Tonight Show. Jay Leno was certainly an inspiration to me, and anytime he went on David Letterman was like Christmas for me, right?
Jimmy,
Yes.
By the way, I went to a Writers Guild party at the Friars Club in New York when I wrote for Chappelle's show, and I met the entire writing staff of David Letterman. And here's what they all had in common:
They all hated David Letterman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They all hated him.
Yeah. And the people who write for Jay Leno all love him.
It's really amazing dialectic they got going.
So, you know, I wasn't the big. I think the show that Jay Leno was the best at was his Garage show. That show, Jay Leno's Garage, it's because he's talking about something.
Oh, his cars, yeah.
His car. And he made it interesting because he was interested in it.
Because he didn't get coffee.
And yeah, he didn't get caught.
Just did the car part. That's all you need.
I mean, I've talked to some of the writers that write for him, and I said, you know, that's the show he should have been doing all along. And some of them agreed with me. So I wasn't, you know, when I think that we got a watered down version of Jay Leno on the Tonight Show. And so I didn't understand it at the time, right? But just like David Letterman put on suit pants when he got his primetime slot on CBS, Jay Leno also had to water down some of the stuff he did. And so I wanted the old Jay, right? So I wasn't the biggest fan of that.
And he's great on Man on the Street.
And he would do the best thing about the Tonight Show, I thought, for my money, was when he would do Man on the Street stuff. He was great at it. I wish he would just do a show like that.
And people don't know his stand-up when he was younger.
So he was the best stand-up.
I always heard that though. Well, I mean, from when I started, all comics would always say, "No, he's like great. He'd be out every night doing stand-up because he's doing it every single night, even though he has a show." I wouldn't even do that writing for a show.
I know, I wouldn't do that. He you know, his comedy before he got the Tonight Show was a big inspiration to me. He was maybe the best. And I would say probably the best. And he's, you know, and now I get to do comedy with him. He goes to this club in Burbank called Flappers all the time. It's near my house, so I go there all the time too. It's a nice room, and they always have a crowd. And I've gotten to interact with him, and he is a swell guy. He's a really sweetheart of a guy, and he's sincere. He's not a bullshitter. And
he's never eaten a vegetable.
And I guess he's never eaten a vegetable.
That's one of his things. He can't abide vegetables. So I have no idea. Look,
he looks good. He's healthy.
He'll say it.
He's got a full head of hair, and he's got a lot of
vegetables are probably bullshit.
And you know, it's just a thrill for me to be able to rub elbows with him at a comedy club and be on the same shows that he's on. I opened for him a couple of weeks ago. It was a thrill. He got on stage one night. I was doing a Jimmy Dore show with my logo on the back, and he asked to do a set before my show started or before I got on stage. And I said, sure, of course. Jay Leno wants to do a set of my show. Sure. He went up and he said my name about 15 times, Jimmy Dore. And it was just like surreal to hear. I remember Mitch Hedberg, I asked him, hey, what's it like when you do David Letterman? He goes, the biggest freak out is to hear David Letterman say my name. And that's what Mitch, and now it's the same thing for when I hear Jay Leno say my name. It's such a freak out to me.
That's how I feel when I did Fallon. No, I'm joking.
But anyway, so that's what I think about Jay Leno.
What about little Jay Leno?
Oh, what's
Because
that?
I knew little Jay Leno.
What do you mean?
Conan would have a midget Jay Leno on, and all dwarves know each other. I don't know if you know that. The one minority that all knows each other is dwarves, and who's called Little Jay Leno. He was friends with my other friend, Nikki Tall, a.k.a. Nikki Kovicki.
Oh, okay. So
you knew the larger model of Leno.
Oh, okay. All right. So thanks for the question. That's what I think. Back to stuff.
All right, here we go. Looking forward to Angela McArdle. She deserves major props for heroic leadership of the Libertarian Party. Thank you, Angela, for RAWM happening again 3.0 on May 24th. Theo. Fauci lied. People died. Danny.
Yeah, to say the least.
Breaking news. Sloop J, you're here, Sloop.
Can't argue with success, you know.
A U.S. court has suspended the sanctions on UN Special Rapporteur Francesca Albanese. Wow. Sloop JB, thank you. Thank you for that info. I started working at the Forest Service, had a training video on Hantavirus, and immediately started cleaning out warehouses with dust masks. No problem. That one dude at least had a show cap on, Giraffe Rider. I used to love Conan and Zach when I was a kid. Then I grew up and discovered Jimmy. Joy Black. Jimmy, Tyler, sliding a hot gun that's been fired down his pants would have burned his skin and shriveled up anything else down his pants like bacon. Funky Lollipop, hello, Funky. Stop depending on politicians and run CBIs, Roger. At least the IDF gave Conan knee pads for his dog obedience training. Fluffles. The world makes a lot more sense once you realize that Benjamin Milkowski is just trying to avoid his wife for 24 hours a day. He'd rather moonlight as Hitler than be home with that monster. Usering for me. All right, Roger. Thank you for that
Hey, I
question.
thought pig was against the Torah, Milkowski.
Nice one. 400 million people with access to guns and Fauci is still alive. Rorschach. Monday show, everyone was depressed and down asking, what do we do? I would have told you, but had no money. But today's payday, baby.
Do you know, I just found out his real name, Milkowski. It actually, this makes me laugh. It means one from a place named Milikovo, which is a town in Poland. It literally means he's not from Israel. His name literally means that.
Wow.
His original name means he's from Poland. You can't make it up.
Monday show, everyone was depressed and down asking, what do we do? I would have told you, but I had no money. But today's payday, baby, so I'll tell you the same as always. Roger. Jay Leno was literally a Shabbos goy for real. Look it up. A Shabbos goy. Holocaust-fruiter.
Wait, he was a guy turning on ovens for people?
I don't know what Shabbos goy
Good
is.
work if you can get it.
Yeah. Good work, right? Roger, stop depending on politicians and run CBIs. I read that one, Roger. My friend is in Clownspiracy. Free with ads on YouTube. A sequel is in the works. Just plug. All love, all the time. Patchouli Diver.
Is there a Clownspiracy on top of everything else now?
Okay, so Jimmy's not here right now, so maybe you want to weigh in on this one. Okay,
What?
so Steve says, Jimmy, haven't you said that you didn't really understand Israel-Palestine prior to October 7th? Why should Conan be held to a higher standard?
Because he literally went there and saw what was going on. And he tried to talk to people in Gaza in this segment. You would have to be a maniac. And by the way, Harvard educated on top of it. So no, he knows what's going on, but it's not, in his head, he's trying to be nuanced to the Nazi thing. But like, dude, now he could be saying something. Now that we all know, now he could be saying something, but he's not gonna, because he's part of the thing. Oh, he's a Bohemian Grove member too. Did you know that about Coney?
What?
You got Bohemian Grove member. The Grove, the Grove with the big owl that they worship, and it's for some reason not insane to people.
Yeah, but you know what? You got to cut him some slack. He just doesn't know about Bohemian Grove.
I mean, he goes there. It's like not knowing
He's
about
not
Gaza.
sure.
And going to
He's
Gaza.
not sure.
Max Blumenthal started out going to Israel. Correct me if I'm wrong. He went there to go prove that it's not what the people say about how bad it is to the Gazans, and now he is how he is now after he went there.
So he was exposed. He got informed, and he now has a position on it. I get you.
Even if he went on a curated tour of Israel, Conan, he should be smart enough to know what they're doing at that point. For a guy that could see right through Trump, and for a guy that could see through a lot of stuff, it was surprising he wouldn't see through that.
I'll say one thing about Conan. During the writer's strike, Conan didn't do what other late night talk shows did. He kind of did his own thing, and I remember even just seeing him, like he was twirling a quarter on his desk. But I will say this, I think, Steve, your question about, but what about Conan?
Did he do a show still during the strike?
Say it again.
Conan did a show during the strike?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. I guess he had to. But he didn't use his writers. He just showed up, and he was boring on purpose on some of the clips that I saw.
Oh, I see. So if he's smart, if he's savvy enough to pull a move like that, you ain't gonna figure out a literal genocide by now, and you're gonna sit there like an idiot talking to a comedy spokes thing, Chris Fleming, about nonsense. Their Hot Wings appearance.
Right.
I mean, what are you doing?
And I also say that, when you see these people that are in positions of influence and they're late night talk show hosts and they're getting advertisers and there must be some money being made for that, don't you want to hold them to a high standard if they're supposed to be the jester on TV, or are you just dismissing them because they are the faux jester on TV? So
this whole jester feudal noble lord bullshit everybody's into. I don't know what the fuck any of you are talking about. The jester, I'm not an archetype with a responsibility to maintain some nonsense feudal idea. There's just the truth and not the truth. And okay, you want to stay out of it, go ahead, but don't weigh in with Zach Galifianakis blaming Rogan after the let's say innocently he went there and didn't know. Don't ever talk about Rogan, idiot. Don't even bring it up. In fact, maybe defend him and correct Zach, since you're that compromised, innocently or not.
And I would say it's interesting. It's very interesting. Like my wonderful governor.
Yeah.
Very interesting. It's interesting. It's interesting that people have such a emotional reaction, or more of a reaction, to the name Joe Rogan than they do to their own governor, to their own senator, their own representative.
Because deep down, they know they got no control over that, even though they still vote like cattle. Deep down, they know they don't control. They know they're like Chinese people. We don't control the government. They know it deep down, but instead of saying it out loud, they transfer it onto celebs, celebrity culture, Lucifer culture, a star, a shining star. I don't know when anyone's going to put that together, the horse shit of that, but that's how they hypnotize you into not looking at your lead. I mean, your leaders are fake too, so really, you're pretty screwed. I guess just keep voting, cows.
But we need that T-shirt. Keep voting, cows.
Cattle really would be the plural. Cows is not correct. It's not the right. I should say cattle.
Not the right one. Cattle. Yeah. But I like cows. Let's see. Oh wait, somebody just had that. Shoot, I got to get that one before it goes away. Just was here. It was about Spencer Pratt. Let's see. Spencer Pratt. James Lee came out with a short about Spencer Pratt.
I just saw it, yeah.
What is he like staying at the Beverly Hills Hotel or something like that right now? And so he's not really staying at his trailer on top of his Pacific Palisades home. I'm not sure. I didn't see it, but you can all check it out. Let's see. This lying nonstop without shame takes a special kind of demon. You got that right, Ortiz. I bet
it's just the main kind. It's just called the demon. I mean, it's just regular. It's the whole story of the whole thing is the lie, the first lie.
Morty Duke, I begged my ex for a pardon back in 2014, Morty. Seth, USS Liberty attack survivor Phil Turney would make a great guest with upcoming anniversary in June. Okay, let me put that to the side and make sure I share that, Seth. Thank you for the recommendation.
Hey, did you ever bring me back?
Oh, no, I didn't. My dog. All right. So let's go with this one, ladies and gentlemen. My favorite Leno car is the one with the 12-cylinder plane engine with the comically large chain. Chili Pop Hagelfrat.
Okay.
All right, back to Jimmy.
So Trump seems determined to make sure the Republicans lose every vote in the midterm election. I don't know if you've seen this, Kurt, but so he was asked about Iran and regarding the Iran war. Trump says Americans' financial situations don't matter to him, not even one bit.
So a tiny bit?
When the GOP gets annihilated in November, don't you dare blame Tucker or Megyn or Candace or Fuentes or Massey. Just watch this over and over. Let's watch this together. Let's watch it.
When you're negotiating with Iran, Mr. President, to what extent are Americans' financial situations motivating you to make a deal?
Not even a little bit. The only thing that matters when I'm talking about Iran, they can't have a nuclear weapon. I don't think about Americans' financial situation. I don't think about anybody. I think about one thing. We cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. That's all. That's the only thing that motivates.
Could you
and
hear
the ballroom? Two things. I think about two things: the terrific ballroom, and Iran cannot have a nuke.
And if my son Barron can manipulate the markets when I say when the war is on and off again and make $135 million in one day.
Did he? Good for him.
Pretty sure
He's
that's
a giant in every level,
at every
financially,
level.
physically. Why can't Iran have a nuke?
So why can't Iran have a nuke?
What will happen?
Why can Israel have a nuke? Why can Pakistan have a nuke? Why can North Korea have a nuke?
You said they couldn't. They said they couldn't have a nuke, but then they got one.
But then they
and
got
you never
one.
brought it up ever again. Isn't that weird?
Isn't that weird? So
you can't overthrow them now. That's why.
That's right, because now we can't overthrow them because they have a nuke. So China has a nuke. Russia has a nuke. We have nukes. Israel has 200 nukes. Pakistan has nukes. North Korea, the person is supposed to be a madman, has nukes.
Oh, no, I just realized.
But for some reason, Iran can't have a nuke? Really?
Because Iran's really close to Israel, Jimmy. And guess what? So, Israel has that great Samson option, which they should have, where they will fire all their nukes into all their surrounding countries if they're ever losing.
Yep.
If they're ever losing the land they stole. So if Iran had a nuke, they could nuke Israel before they did the Samson option, couldn't they? It would render a lot of things that we got plans for incomplete, I would say.
So Donald Trump, not even it's like he should be on your podcast. Can you hear yourself?
Oh, he can.
Not even a little bit. I don't care about the financial woes of American citizens. That is.
No, it's because of how important this Iran thing is.
Oh, it's
to
so
America.
important that nobody in America gives a crap about.
I actively want Iran to develop nuclear weapons.
I do too.
They don't need them, by the way.
If
they can
Iran
end the
had
whole
a
thing.
if Iran had a nuclear weapon, the Strait of Hormuz would have been open. It would have never been closed. They would have never attacked them, and we would never have this war that is on the verge of becoming a world war. It would have never happened.
Right. A nuke means a country you can't just take over how you want.
That's
You're going
right.
to have to do it subtly now, how they did to America.
This is the same guy who spent years promising lower prices, protecting working families, and America first. Now he's dragging us into another costly war and openly admits he doesn't even care what it's doing to your wallet.
Hey, try to flight or buying gas, which is, I think, $5 a gallon where I live now.
It's $7 a gallon here in California.
Ooh, you guys are ahead.
I don't know how people can afford anything here when gas is $7 a gallon. I don't understand it.
Oh, when
And
that
they say-
UBI comes in.
And then they try to say, Kurt, oh, no, it's great because the United States is we're selling more oil than ever. Yet that's not great for Americans. That's great for Exxon and Shell. That's not great for Americans. That money doesn't go in our pockets. In fact, it's going the other way. It goes out of our pockets because the prices are so high.
Don't you blame Fuentes for this.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare. Dating
He
girls
said there's
is
no way Charlie Kirk, the Fed story is true about Charlie Kirk. That's what he says.
dating girls is gay.
Well, that's true.
That's true.
Hey, he's got me there.
I don't think I've ever heard, Sean McHugh says, I don't think I've ever heard an American president say he doesn't care about Americans' financial situation. That's a
Right.
new one.
That's why you got to vote Democrat, because they'll say they care and then
And then-
also do
and-
the same
and
shit.
then also crush your union strike.
Yeah.
So the man who ran on America First just admitted he doesn't think about how Americans are doing financially. Oh, Cenk Uygur makes an appearance on the show. Whoa! My old
Well,
buddy.
don't you blame Cenk.
My old boss, my old buddy, Cenk Uygur. Don't you blame Cenk.
Justice is coming for Cenk.
Justice is coming. Justice is a horse. Anyway, no. I don't have any animosity towards Cenk Uygur. It's all he appears in my dreams.
Really?
And whenever my haters appear in my dreams,
You wake up when you come?
I wake up and I come, and it reminds me. It reminds me that we're all just playing parts. This is one lifetime, and we're all playing parts, and it doesn't matter. We're like actors in a play, and I just have feelings of gratitude when I wake up because he did help me out a lot. He gave me a paycheck and let me learn how to do this on the fly at his job. There's no training to do this job.
Right.
There's no you don't go somewhere to train to do this. You have to. Someone opens a door for you, and then you show up and you do it. And if you don't do it, they close the door.
Yeah, that's
the worst thing you could do is
Mm-hmm.
have someone open the door for you. Anyway, the point is, he did that for me.
Yeah.
He opened the door, and I walked through it, and I was able to do it. And I learned watching him do it. I learned being put on panels, and just you learn by the seat of your pants. That's how you learn how to do this
Like
job.
headlining.
And just like stand-up comedy, nobody's going to go learn you how to do it. There's no training. The comedy club doesn't go come in for training. That's not how. The same thing with acting. Nobody, the people who hire you to go act, they don't go, okay, we're going to have a training week of how to act. That's not how it works. So
You're supposed to show up with it. Yeah.
So Cenk Uygur opened the door for me. He gave me a paycheck, and I learned how to do this at a high level.
And his nephew taught me how to make a dog obey with the power of electricity.
Now, to my credit, the first time they had me on, I was already pretty good at it, right? Because I had been hosting I was a comedian, and I was hosting my own video show. And so I kind of had some experience doing it. So when the door opened, I was able to walk through. I remember the first time I did it, I was filling in for Cenk because he had gotten his big job at MSNBC, and they wanted guest hosts. So they brought me in, and they go, hey, don't look at the comments. And I'm like, why? They go, because our crowd hates everybody who fills in. Well, of course, I looked at the comments, and everybody loved me, and they immediately offered me a permanent job.
Who filled in normally? Ben Shapiro?
Whoever. And so anyway, so I just have gratitude for it. So now, honestly, I don't have any animosity towards him. I've even thought about calling him because now he's come to the right side. You know, he realized he's anti-war, which is nice.
Bombing Syria wasn't a good idea?
Bombing Syria wasn't a good idea because just like I said, the chief head chopper from Al-Qaeda took over. He sees that was probably another war for Israel. Instead of defending AOC, which they did during Forced to Vote, he's now criticizing AOC.
Hey, welcome to the party.
So it's nice. So we're back on the same page again.
Right.
And so
and like the Frederick Douglass quote,
Frederick Douglass says, I'll join with anyone to do good and no one to do wrong.
Even a Russian asset like Aaron Mate?
Even a Russian asset like Aaron Mate, who is a Assad toady who was paid by the Russians. We all know that.
Mm-hmm.
And anywho, so let's see what Cenk has to say. Totally unacceptable, Cenk says, about Trump saying that. He doesn't give an S about us. He only cares about Israel because they bribed him and very likely have blackmail on him. I can't disagree with both those things. We need to have an American president, someone who cares about Americans instead of just super wealthy supporters of Israel. Well, the problem with that, Cenk, you're correct in theory. The problem with that is if someone was an American president interested in taking care of Americans, he would be killed like Charlie Kirk. They don't get there, right? And so there you go. But anyway, good tweet.
Takes a lot of Kabbalah school to get to the White House.
A lot of Kabbalah. Solid tweet by Cenk Uygur.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be great to have him back on the show? I would love to have him back on the show. I don't think he would come, but
hey, speaking of Cenk Uygur, whatever happened to the Uyghurs in China? Boy, isn't it amazing how all the conservatives never bring those muzzies up ever again? Remember, we were so concerned for them. Vivek Pastrami,
when he came on our show, he pretended that the Uyghurs, there's 1 million Uyghurs being starved in China. Yeah, well, there's 2 million in Palestine. Anyway, he's going to be
phony.
Anyway, he's going to be governor of Ohio now. So we just can't help stop electing criminals. Here, I like this. Cheeky, hello, Cheeky. Cheeky says, Trump projection. He must be so relieved people are not talking about the Trump Epstein files so much now. He must also be worried about the coming election to have started an unnecessary unilateral illegal war that will end up costing Americans $1 trillion. Let's remember what he said. Back in 2012, he said, I always said Barack Obama will attack Iran in some form prior to the election. In 2011, he said, Barack Obama will attack Iran in the not-too-distant future because it will help him win the election. I predict that President Obama will at some point attack Iran in order to save face. That was so 3 years in a row he said that.
Wow, that's what he would do if he were in Barack's position?
That's called projection, yes. And so How many years away from a bomb is Iran away from a nuclear bomb? In 84, they said they were 5 to 10 years away. In 87, they said within a decade. In 89, they said 10 years or less. In 91, 5 to 10 years. 92, 3 to 5. So it just keeps going. It's just within a decade, 5 years,
shifts at the
a
speed
few
of
years,
science.
months, 10. In 2005, they said months away. And then in 2010, they said a year away. 2011 through 2012, they said weeks away. 2014, ready, almost right now.
Oh.
And then 2015, back to 2 to 3 months.
It never came out. I had
And
a
then,
lobster bib on and a fork and knife waiting for my...
2023, they said days and weeks. And then 2025, they said days. And Trump is saying again. So that this time it's different, though, right?
I thought first of all, the first Top Gun Part 2 bombing run, we got it.
We got it. We've
Okay?
obliterated them. Then we
But didn't
unobliterated
get it. Yeah. Well, listen, if it's any consolation, it's going to be way more than $1 trillion. It's going to be the end of the dollar itself, and it's going to be that new, what do you call it, central digital,
Well, the
Larry,
reason,
Larry Ellison bucks.
yeah, CBD, central banking digital currency. Hey, the King of England just said that they're starting to implement that. He just said that while wearing a crown. I'm not kidding. While
Hashtag
wearing
no kings. If you went
no-
to the No Kings March, are you see, that's so absurdly stupid that I don't know how people don't believe in mind control, because that is so on the face of it. I get BLM, okay? That should have been the last thing you ever fell for if you were falling for shit. That should have been the last one. After all the money went to some fat bitch in Hamas, you all should have known that that was a fake thing. Nope. I still want to march. I don't want to do real things. And I certainly don't want to talk about Zionism.
All right. Come see me this weekend in Oklahoma City, Atlanta, Raleigh, Spokane, Tacoma, Levittown. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Over to Steph.
All right. Let's see. Enjoying the LA mayor's race. Any update on Pratt coming on the show?
Is he coming on the show? Are you shitting me? So we've reached out to them twice. So you're kidding me.
What happened?
We reached out to, what's his name?
Spencer Pratt.
Spencer Pratt. Like 3 times. I have his personal cell phone number. I texted him twice. And then his PR person got back to me and said, hey, I'll take care of it. We'll book him. And then you reached out to her and she didn't? You got to be shitting me.
I guess that's how she takes care of booking. Come on, let's get back to the chats. We are not flies. Obama was also a Shabbos goy, a non-Jew who is employed by Jews to perform certain types of work that Jewish religious law prohibits a Jew from doing on the Shabbat. We are not flies. You learn a little something every day when you tune into the Jimmy Dore Show.
Wait, do you mean like Obama worked that way in the sense of going to Hasidic's house and turning on their ovens and lights? Or do you mean you're saying his actions performed fall under that category and therefore it's a shot? Is that what they mean? I don't care.
How many times have you reached out?
I think that's what they mean. All right.
How many times have you reached out?
Pratt just got the power to his trailer to the other day. He was staying in a hotel, and I think his kids are going to school in Santa Barbara because the school is burned down. They were doxxed. Oh, that was from Kate. Thank you, Kate. Hey, Kurt, John wants to know, have you ever met Tommy Blacha? Used to know him in Chicago before he got to the Conan gig. Really funny and cool dude. Love
the guy that made Death Clock, the cartoon. My friend Todd James used to work with that guy on Minority Team back in the day. If that's who I'm thinking of, Tommy. Is that guy from
I
I've
don't
never
know.
met him. No.
I'm going
The
to say
answer's
it
no.
is.
Rather than an anecdote, I'll just say no. I have never met him.
All right, let's see here. How do they cope with gas at $7 a gallon? They're buying Burley trailers for their bicycles and doing grocery runs for their bicycles and doing grocery runs. Lake Vacuum. I didn't follow it exactly, but it is $7.
So his PR person, Emily, got back to, I said, hey, any update on this? My producer, Misha, reached out to you, and the response came very quickly. No. I'm sure you can imagine how busy we are. We will get back to you. Yeah, you're busy with what?
Something with Israel. Something Israel.
Folks got to cancel their Hulu and ABC TV in solidarity with the people of Utah fighting Canadian
So this would be one of those things that probably prioritize. Question mark? Don't try gaslighting me.
Wait, what were you just saying, Steph? What did you just read? You said that again?
Okay. Folks got to cancel their Hulu and ABC TV in solidarity with the people of Utah fighting Canadian Zyokut Kevin O'Leary's data center. These data centers are no bueno. Cheddar Mountain.
Why would you have a subscription to either of those? I don't. I can't cancel because I never had that.
Gaslight me. That's probably not. I don't care now. I don't really give a fuck. Fuck you. Don't come on, Spencer.
All right.
Yeah.
So Morty, I begged my ex for pardon back in 2014. Oh, I read that one. Okay, got it. All right, how you doing, Jim? I read him. Jim. Sometimes he ignores me without knowing he's ignoring me.
All right, hang on.
He just doesn't know. I don't take it personally. All right. How can you take it personally when somebody doesn't know they're ignoring you? Yeah. I'm gonna text Spencer too to stop gaslighting.
Let me hit him up too. Maybe
I'm not the best. I'm not the best.
So, Jimmy.
I'm not the best person to deal with the media flacks from politicians. I told Bernie Sanders media flack to fuck off, and then the guy, when he quit working for Bernie and he started a podcast, he asked me for a favor. I'm like, you got to be out of your fucking mind.
What was the favor?
He wanted me to help him promote him. Like, you got to be out of your mind.
He wanted you to help him move.
Hey, Jimmy,
can you help me?
Jimmy,
what are you doing this weekend?
You got it. On Sunday from 12 to 5, I'll be moving. I got a U-Haul. I'm going to get everybody Kentucky Fried Chicken after. Okay. Here's the real reason behind all the data center. There's a million data center stories. I could do 12 data center stories a day.
Nightmare.
And why do you think this is? This is the final squeeze from the surveillance state, which is the oligarchy, which is you're done. They've got every email, every text, and every phone call you make already. They can shut down your bank account if you protest in a way they don't like. That the truckers proved that during COVID. Now they got
the robots, the data center robots, the Tesla bots are going to be charged at those centers. The new cops, the new RoboCops.
And they can shut your car off when they want. And they want you living in storage containers in 15-minute cities, driving electric scooters and eating the bugs that hit you on the face as you drive around town. And so here, a power to the people says it's all connected. Billionaires are building the data centers to power the artificial intelligence that will replace our jobs. And the U.S. government is doing it for mass surveillance and war. That's exactly what it's for. That if you want to know why it's being done, and it's being done against your will, it's because you don't live in a democracy, as I've been telling you on. And if you do, and I love, you always get these people, Jimmy, we don't live in a democracy. We live in a constitutional republic.
You don't live in that either. You live in feudalism.
You don't live in that either. Exactly as Kurt just said.
We don't have none of that.
You live in an oligarchy, a techno-feudal oligarchy. But just to clear that up, there's different forms of democracy. There's a pure democracy where majority rules. That's not what we have. We have a constitutional democracy or represent. And what that is a form of democracy. So it is a democracy. It's just not a pure democracy.
Right.
We have
like that idea.
We have a constitutional republic where you're supposed to be able to vote. And that's supposed to matter, but majority doesn't always rule because we have a constitution that provides minority protections. So it's a form of democracy. So saying that it's not a democracy is 100% incorrect.
Because you could prevent tyranny from the masses that way. Like everybody said, stop doing slavery.
So
that way you have to talk about it first.
So why don't you ask Grok? Grok is a constitutional republic, a form of democracy, and Grok will tell you, yes, it is. Anyway, so not that Grok is always right. So billionaires are building the data. And they're building the data centers over farmland to reduce our food supply since the AI robots won't need food.
Does Bill Gates know they're taking his land?
Are you awake yet? Their plan is to replace millions of us with robots to usher in their AI techno-capitalist dystopia. The best way for us to stop it is to stop the data centers that will power it all. I don't know how you do that.
Best of luck. What are they going to stop? The Marxists? It's done. It's all over.
By the way, why would we need that for war? I mean, Trump's on his way to China with 20 billionaires to get them to help with Iran.
Oh, yeah. So there you go. It's going to work out just fine, you black pills out there.
So let's watch this video. So is he looking at the farmland? That's what he's looking around at the farmland. Ironically, this looks AI. That's the irony here. That's the irony here. And we had to mute it because the song that's playing under it is copywritten or whatever. Okay, so that was quite compelling.
What was that from?
I don't know what that was from. That was attached to this tweet, but it doesn't really. There's nothing to it. More Perfect Union says nearly 50,000 people in the Lake Tahoe area have been told that their utility will stop providing power to them. Why?
50,000 people?
Why? Because it's redirecting that power to data centers. Now, why do they care who they sell power to? Why wouldn't they want to sell power to people just as much as they want to sell it to a data center? Nevada Energy, the Nevada utility that has supplied most of Lake Tahoe's electricity for decades, says that next year it will stop servicing homes in the area and instead direct that electricity to the growing demand from Nevada data centers. Northern Nevada is one of the fastest growing data center corridors in the country. I like they call it corridors.
Boy, you thought the mass immigration was bad.
Yeah.
Wow, wow, wee, wow, wow,
wow. Wow. Back to power to the people. He says a dangerous viewpoint is forming. You don't have to worry about AI. The billionaires are going to give us UBI. Is that
what?
UBI, which is universal basic income. So you don't have to worry about you don't have a job.
Does he hang out with Yang or something?
No. This is what. No, he's saying this is a bad thing.
No, I know.
There is nothing rational about assuming the ruling class will just give us UBI. They don't care about us now and will care even less when they don't need our labor. Yep. This passive mindset is dangerous, irrational, and lacks historical perspective. Any gains the masses have ever made had to be won by rising up against the ruling class. This is true. This moment in history is no different. AI is only accelerating the need for the people to unite and fight to take control of the economy from these pro-AI, anti-human billionaires. I have to agree with them. Data centers are cutting power to homes, driving homeowners to solar and batteries. So that's what's going to happen. Everybody's going to have to get their own Tesla battery to put at their house, and they have to charge it with solar. Not in my backyard. Most Americans oppose AI data centers, Gallup finds. No kidding. Really? Oh. Wow. You had to get a poll to figure that out? But I'm glad they did. 7 in 10 Americans oppose building AI data centers in their communities, with nearly half strongly opposed. And guess what? You're getting it anyway. Just like you don't, the Democrats don't want the power of the oligarchs to rig their primaries, which they did the last 3 times. Fuck you. You're getting it anyway. Fuck you.
Hey,
pay me.
Yeah. Climate change isn't a thing. They just announced, you're going to have to go get solar panels
now,
and not use. Yeah.
Exactly as you said,
for
Kurt.
robots.
So now you got the UN admitting climate change isn't a thing, and that all of our horrible predictions were a lie.
Mm-hmm.
And why? Because they got to build these data centers. That's why. So the elite is going to use climate change as much to control you anymore, because now they're going to actually control you. Wow.
But some people are going to be mad, but you got to understand, the new generations are alpha and beyond expect nothing. They don't expect a home or healthcare or food. They expect nothing. So we're going to start clean slate just when you die out.
Wow. I got great news for you. Pretty soon you won't have things like backyards to worry about. So
yeah, I forgot. It's not in my backyard. It's not yours.
Concerns center on environment impact, resource use, and quality of life. What is that? That doesn't make any sense to me. The opposition could hinder the expansion of AI infrastructure in the U.S. What?
Yeah. I'm sure.
I don't know what any of those two things. Can you understand what those two things just said?
Their concern center on environmental impact, resource use.
So
and quality of life.
Americans concern. I thought it was concern center.
Oh, they'll open a concern center and then gradually install it. There's going to be like fake back and forth
That
from your
concern
fake
center
government.
is going to be AI. You know it. Concern center on environmental impact, resource use, and quality of life. Got it.
Yeah.
The opposition could hinder the expansion of AI infrastructure in the U.S. What opposition? There's no how does that? What do you? I don't know what that means. The
If
opposition.
people complain enough, there will be some fake opposition,
there will be-
and what will happen is
Like a King's
hopefully we'll be
March?
at war. Yeah, hopefully we'll be in war by then, so it won't matter what you say at all. But until then, they'll do. I'm against this, and they'll keep nudging forward, even in with little battles, right?
Yes.
They'll do a little dialectic, but always moving towards this.
Malice Dacus says if they are smart enough, politicians should block this. Do you know it has nothing to do with intelligence?
If they're smart,
they're smart
they don't
enough to
wanna
take.
die,
If the way, how do you think they get to be elected politicians? By taking the
JFK
money,
wasn't smart.
by taking the money of the people who are doing this. That's how you get. That's how Vivek Pastrami is becoming Ohio's governor.
Davos man, Vivek Pastrami.
Power to the People says politicians are getting kickbacks and campaign donations to approve the data centers. They're all selling us all out. This is what they do and what their function is in our capitalist oligarchy.
Plus, they ate a baby, and there's video of it.
Plus, they ate a baby, and there's video.
Like, dude, you're not going to be in that position unless you do something so foul and unforgivable on recording that they can depend on you to always do the right thing.
I'm not. I just can't believe people think like this. That
Well,
I mean,
in
I
fairness,
get
not a lot
the.
of likes.
I'm with you on the sentiment, Malice Dacus. I'm with you on the sentiment, but do you? These are people who still think it matters to vote Democrat or Republican.
Well, he's got 2 likes on a 4,000 viewed post. So I'm guessing a lot of people.
I'm guessing. If anything has taught you since the 9/11 that voting doesn't matter. It does not matter. You are getting what they want you to get, which is no health care, no decent jobs, no infrastructure. It's 100% 24-hour surveillance. You're gonna be in debt forever. We're gonna be like China, except with more street crime and slow trains.
That's true. Yeah.
And a lot more homeless people.
Mm-hmm.
Holy effing F.
Yeah,
Wow.
well, it was the techno-state was always the dream. These tech freaks openly talk about these things like it's fine and good. Oh, that guy with the hair lip, I can't stand him, Ben Gertzel. He was at Epstein Island. He went with Epstein Africa to map kids' brains. And the little Sophia doll that they're going to give to girls to make them interested in STEM, which would actually secretly be recording your daughter. They're all freaks, these people.
Okay, over to Steph.
Oh.
Where are we, Steph? You're not keeping track of me anymore.
I'm sorry. Oh my goodness. 8. Wait a minute. Where was the one that just said? Oh, it's a really good one. It was about it was about data centers. We'll get to that one later. Here we go. Once the economy collapses, the data centers will follow. Social Observer. Thank you, Social Observer.
What do you mean? That will come online and the robots that are going to replace. Remember defund your police? Well, that was because they're going to replace them with robots. They want you to have bad policing. They want to crash the economy. You're going to turn to the oligarchs to get your UBI and your robot police, and you're going to talk to Robot Jesus on the phone. They already have these things. These things are already here. You can call Robo Jesus and pray about it if you want.
I mean, we already go crazy when you have to call somebody because you need help with something, and all you get is some sort of machine, that says, "I can help you with that." No, you can't help me with that. I don't want you to help me with that. I want a person to help me with that.
If terrorism was not every single time cooked up by the state, if there was such a thing as naturally terrorism happening, it would have happened with somebody losing their shit about that. Like that's the thing that a normal person, I could see going batshit and being like, I'm blowing up whoever's responsible for this. Like the Unabomber. But even the Unabomber was an MK Ultra, wasn't he?
All right, here we go. Back to you, ladies and gents. I'm grateful to Jank for giving you a show, Jimmy. You were awesome on TYT with Frank Conniff. Miranda Fair, look at you. Yes, Kurt, that's the guy. Used to buy weed from him. He was trying to get money to buy a word processor to help him with his writing. LOL. John.
Who is this? Wait,
I think
what
they were
guy?
talking about that guy earlier. Matcha.
I mean,
Matcha.
yeah, he's supposed to be pretty funny. That guy. That's what Todd said. Todd's a real good friend of mine, Todd James.
Hey, Social Observer. I got lost in the Tennessee forest today looking for a farm-to-table restaurant. Turned out they got all their food frozen, and they didn't know about the Jews. We are cooked. I don't.
You should go to that yellow deli with that cult runs. That's all 100% organic, cult slave farm foods. Excellent restaurant. Yellow deli.
I had an AI grok tweet go kind of viral. Social Observer. Thank you. Hey, Jimmy Dore Show. I have a recommendation. This is from Vanilla. Maybe do an episode every once in a while that's just devoted to comedy. Different comedian guests talk about your past experiences, comedy clubs, etc. Thank you for that recommendation. Pim Tool is a cyborg, a Social Observer. Pim Tool. We took out Iran's nuclear arsenal line became like the Palpatine reveal in The Last Jedi. They returned somehow. Spike! I meant to say at least that dude had a shower cap on. Giraffe Rider. Right. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, he did have a shower cap on. Hollow Crustrufer. Thank you so much, amigo. Resist data centers. This is funny. Commentator 5, you say resist data centers. Ask Grok. I don't trust Metzger unless he wears a black cube on his head. Social Observer. Why a black cube?
You don't understand. The black cube is around you now. I don't need to wear it on my head. You're in the cube. You're already in the cube.
I didn't even know I was in the cube.
You're in the cube.
I didn't know. AI data centers will burn Metzger. Stop being so awesome and realize we will have robot death. Social Observer coming in strong at the end here.
Oh, I'm getting a ring. Yeah.
Listen to me.
Oh, back to Jim.
I don't know if y'all saw this. When I say y'all, I mean people in the South. Now, the end begins says, breaking news, evangelical and Jewish religious leaders gathered today in South Florida to pray over a golden statue of President Donald Trump. It's called Don Colossus.
Nice.
This is idolatry that needs to be both called out and condemned. Total preparation for the coming Antichrist. Flee this wicked. This is, by the way, I thought this was AI when I saw it. This is not. This is
real.
This is 100% real. Look, I'm not one for Bible hysterics.
Yes.
Okay. But that looks very much like they are worshiping a golden calf.
Yes.
And I'm just waiting for Charles Heston to smash the two tablets in disgust.
Are they reenacting the Charlton Heston film?
Remember that? By the way, just relax. It's just gold paint over a 3D printed casing anyway.
No.
No way would the real Antichrist settle for something like that. Come on.
Yeah.
But it does blow the whole Jewish rule of no idols out of the water completely. It does do that. Of course, Trump isn't even there for this. He's playing golf, you pathetic bunch of saps. But even more so, he's playing you. So let's watch this. This is real. That's a real thing.
Make sure everyone can hear. Okay, sir.
Hello, everybody. I want to thank you so much
He's not even there.
being there today, and more importantly, for what you did. The statue is beautiful. You know, I saw it during the weekend. We had a big PGA tournament with a great champion, and all great champions, actually, but it was a great tournament, and I got to look at it very closely, and it's incredible. And I just want to thank you. I know it was done from love, and I want to thank Mark Burns, a pastor. He's a good pastor. He's a good man. I've known him a long time. He's been with me from the beginning, right from the beginning. Maybe about 2 days later, right? 2 days. But
right, Mr. President.
he was right at the beginning, and I appreciate it, Mark. You're great, and just really a good person. And I want to thank everybody there. I don't know, I hear there's a good crowd of people, but I want to thank you all, and I won't forget it. And we love you all, and the country's doing great. And Iran is not doing good because of us. They are not doing well at all, and good things are happening. And I just want to really give you my love, and I wish I could be there where we want to make sure everything's going perfect on the war front. So I think you can understand that. But we'll see you all around. I just want to again
It's everybody is taking pictures of it. My people told me that it's unbelievable. All day long they're taking pictures. They stand up next to it and they have their picture taken. It really came out beautiful. I didn't know what to expect. I just want to thank you all, and we love you all, and God bless America. God bless you, sir. God bless you. We love you. God bless you, Mr. President. Love you, sir. Talk to you soon.
We stand for you.
Jenna just pointed out to me that's much like Nero's Colossus, the same kind of statue. Now, Nero, as you recall, remember what he did with Christians? He made a statue like that just when he got going on Christians in Rome. It's insane that a Christian pastor supposedly would call it a Colossus.
Yes.
And I mean, but it's to signal, sun worship and blah, 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 7 mountains. Oh, I put it in the thing. He's NAR, this guy, this Burns guy. So that's that fake Christianity, yeah.
So here it is. The pastor defends golden Trump statue from biblical backlash. The pastor behind a newly erected 22-foot golden statue of President Donald Trump at one of his Florida golf courses has defended the project following criticism that the homage violates biblical prohibitions against worshiping false gods. John Mark Burns, an American evangelical minister and spiritual advisor to President Trump. Now,
and black guy, you should point out, because that does matter.
Yeah, that does matter. That John Mark Burns is a spiritual advisor to the president, which of course means he's some kind of Satanist.
He's a fucking faith leader.
John Mark Burns, and a spiritual, he led an unveiling ceremony at Trump National Doral, Miami this week, joined by dozens of religious figures. He described. Do you see how most religious leaders are fakes and phonies? Most.
Yeah.
Most.
Burns didn't name this. Here's who named it. It's the $ Patriot cryptocurrency investors, a meme coin project. They originated and branded the project as Don Colossus. They paid sculptor Alan Cotrill to create it as a promotional stunt tribute to Trump, an outspoken crypto supporter. The name was used in their marketing from the beginning to hype the statue and their token. So there was a shitcoin attached to this.
Oh, my God.
So the amounts of conjuration at work here are unbelievable. But the NAR, 7 Mountain Dominionism, is that General Flynn's in that shit. TPUSA is lousy with them. That's who founds it. They're Satanists. But the whole thing is the 7 mountains. We got to dominate the mountain. So this signifies dominating the mountain of government. And pretty soon we get that central digital currency. It'll be finance. There'll be 2 mountains conquered. That's what they're signifying.
He described the statue as a celebration of life and powerful symbol of resilience, freedom, patriotism, courage, and the will to keep fighting for America. Now watch, lightning won't hit that statue because it's not really gold. But it will but it will strike Pastor Burns just because of the irony of his last name.
Mm-hmm. By the way, it's layered with symbolism. His fighting pose from, after the ceremony from Exodus to signal he's a servant of Israel. So to morons that still think that was real, the shooting of his ear, which you'd have to be stupid to still believe. This is commemorating that's why the rabbis are there. It's Roman emperor stuff. It's the empire's going.
Let me be very clear that we worship the Lord Jesus Christ and him alone.
Who said that?
Burns wrote that, the pastor.
Oh, great.
But I'm doing my Trump. When approached for comment, Pastor Burns told Newsweek that the statue was a public symbol of gratitude from Americans who believe President Trump's leadership has helped strengthen this nation. It's unbelievable. All of the statues are unbelievable. The statue was unveiled amid broader criticism over what opponents describe as increasingly personality-driven branding around Trump. Really?
Oh, no, that was his whole branding.
From branded Bibles and sneakers to the recent renaming of parts of John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. Oh, yeah, that's right. He did that. Remember that?
Look, if he wasn't a Shabbos Goy, he could rename this the United States of Trumpy McTrump, and I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
He hasn't done anything good. Well, the tip thing, I'll give him that. And now this great statue.
The story of the gilded statue, dubbed Don Colossus, which is the best name ever for anybody. Everybody believes it. Nobody can believe what a great name it is. Goes back before Trump's second inauguration in January of last year. According to reporting by the New York Times, fake news, Fake news. The sculptor, Alan Cottrill, completed the project ahead of the ceremony, but it was then kept under wraps amid a payment dispute. Among a payment dispute involving the group of cryptocurrency entrepreneurs and Trump supporters who had funded it. Burns said the entire project was funded by 6,000 patriots. They're all wonderful people, great friends, great patriots. Cottrill told AFP that he finally received the full payment in late April, after which the statue was installed at the golf course ahead of this week's unveiling. This was far more than a ribbon cutting. It was a moment of gratitude, honor, and remembrance, Burns posted on X. Trump himself celebrated the event, sharing an image. He celebrated it so much he didn't show up.
Yeah.
That's how much he celebrated it.
Him speaking through the statue was somehow even more powerful.
Yeah. He on Truth Social he called it it's the real deal, saying it was put there by great American patriots. Come on.
6,000 patriots.
There it is. The real deal, gold at Doral, Miami, put there by great American patriots. There it is. You can't even see his diaper. That's the beauty of that. Maybe this is why everything about him is orange, because he's trying to dip himself in gold. Anyway,
yeah. The name Donald means world ruler.
Burns is a longtime supporter of Trump and sat on the president's Evangelical Executive Advisory Board during his first term in office. Polling shows that white evangelicals remain among Trump's strongest bases. I'm going to guess because they're the most easily duped. That they certainly are. A survey from Pew Research Center. Why would you not rename your name? Why would you call it Pew? Why don't you call it Stinky McFarts? In late January, I would rather hear a poll from Stinky McFarts. If someone texted me and says this is the Stinky McFarts polling people, I would actually answer that poll.
Do you know who's partially behind this? Dustin Stockton, the guy from We Build the Wall. Remember Bannon was going to have people
and he got
donate?
caught. He got in trouble, right?
Yeah, and that's who's with this. All the same. So this is actually real dark shit from real creeps, without a doubt. And then this idiot pastor who will just do whatever he's told, like the golem he is.
So a survey from the Pew Research Center in late January found that Trump's approval with the evangelical group was 69%, which means that 31% of even those people can't stand him. A more recent NPR PBS News Marist poll put this at 64%, down 5 points. It's still beautiful. That's anybody can believe it. It's 64%. It's crazy.
My buddy, who's an AI crypto degenerate in Puerto Rico, told me Trump has some of the lowest scumbags of the industry surrounding him. Right when he got in, he told me that about Trump.
What does Grok say, Kurt? You have down here, Grok says something?
Isn't it written on there?
Here's what I got from Grok, but I should probably explain how I got Grok. You didn't write it down.
Oh, okay. It's an occult idol. In Seven Mountains NAR theology, the government mountain must be conquered. Trump is their Cyrus figure, the pagan king God uses to restore the kingdom, erecting a giant golden image of the political messiah on his own property. It's a ritual declaration. This mountain now belongs to us. The golden calf parallels are there, but it's the same pattern as the Alice Bailey's Seven Rays, which comes out of Theosophy. So basically, they're signaling to all so people in the New York Times who are like, oh, this is bad, but they're not going to bring up the massive Israel problem leading to this, obviously. Trump's just signaling with that thing that everything's going according to plan, and he's going to be the guy doing this stuff, because they're all vying to be the guy, and they didn't want him to get to be the guy with the golden statue. You know, like Hillary wanted to be the guy with the golden statue.
Yeah. Okay. Burns went on to reject comparisons between Don Colossus and the golden calf, Kurt, of the book of Exodus, the story in which the Israelites, after being led out of Egypt by Moses, crafted a golden calf to worship as they awaited his return for 40 days and nights. Upon returning from Mount Sinai, Moses destroyed the golden calf, and the episode has since become an enduring piece of biblical imagery associated with spiritual betrayal and the worship of graven images and false gods. I would think it's craven. This was
so graven means you engraved an image.
Oh, I got you. So it is graven. This was not idol worship. This was an honor. This was gratitude. This was patriotism at its finest. Come on, everybody.
Yeah, it's closer to Nero's Colossus in terms of statue size. And Nero, as you know, is the guy that used Christians to light up his parties. He would cruise by and light them on fire, and all the guests would see them burning.
No kidding.
Nero.
I didn't know that.
666 was the Nero gematria and all that.
So
616.
he said
but same
this is
deal.
not idol worship. We have Katy Perry for that. Come on, folks. Am I right?
We got a bunch of great idols, but this is like the real. That's the solar phallic. There's so many things it symbolizes, and it's a signal to the rest of the cult, I guess you could say.
So Make America Godly says praying over versus praying to. Big difference. Oh, really?
I think you should get into.
I think it's
more.
about. I think you should look up praying on the gullible. I think you should look.
You're not
at,
supposed to be doing that at all in the Bible, and praying over a golden idol of any kind. I assure you is not. Now, Make America Godly Again, I'm going to guess, is some fake Zionist shill account, and as you know, they don't really fundamentally understand what Christianity is, and that's why it's this war crap.
Okay. Hey, want to hear my jokes about this? I think I wrote a new joke about the Pew Research Center. I think I'm going to put that in my ad.
Pew.
What did I call it?
Spot.
Oh, you got to go. All right, Kurt. I'll see you, buddy.
Bye, guys.
See me this weekend in Tulsa, and then I'll be in Oklahoma City. That's this weekend, and then I'll be in Atlanta and Raleigh, and then Spokane and Tacoma, and then Levittown, New York. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. That's it for me for today. Over to Steph.
Combat.
Oh, I got to do something.
All right, you give me a background.
Let me get you a nice background.
Could you, Jim? With the Trump. Oh, I thought it was going to be Trump.
Let's go. So this interview we're about to show you with Matt Kennard. Matt Kennard's a great journalist. He does a lot of great work, but the work he did in this is very enlightening about the horrible recruiting that's happening inside the military. Except, according to me, he does a lot of bad connections. He draws the wrong conclusions from this. And if you stick around long enough, somewhere around the 25-minute mark, I'm going to push back on him about his conclusions in this book. So I'm saying this because I don't want you to turn it off because you don't like the conclusions he's coming up with, because I get to that at around the 25-minute mark. And I push back on him on the Oklahoma City bombing and January 6th and the FBI's fake terrorism things that they said that they stopped. And we all know that FBI are the people setting up these terrorist things so they can say we stopped them. Anyway, so I just wanted to give you that. It's a great interview. He writes a great book. There's a lot of great stuff in this book. If you read it, you'll see what I mean. Thanks for watching.
Okay. And that was really nice, Jimmy. I just wanted you to know that Oh, here we go. Let's see here. They're chatting. They're doing their chit chats.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have to make any more announcements?
Yes. Hey, I'll be in Rosemont. Hey, come see me at Zany's in Rosemont, September 18th and 19th, and downtown Chicago on the 20th. See you there. Go to jimmydore.com.
Okay, back to stuff. Too many chats. Too many. Jimmy, I did want to tell you that Combat weighed in and said Pew thinks their shit don't stink.
I'm using it.
I thought you would like that. Thank you, Combat, for the levity. All right, here we go. Womp womp. All right. Let's go with this, shall we, folks? All righty. Hello, Juliet. What's up with you, girl? Ancient Judaism, like most religions, was originally polytheistic. They worshipped multiple gods. They became monotheistic due to influence of Zoroastrianism, hence why God has many different names. Big screen camera 4, please. Bing. Thank you. Hey, Metzger, what is your theory about CERN? We didn't get to that, Social Observer. Thank you very much, though. Bilderberg Dude was confirmed as a new Fed chair today, so getting close to their digital currency with the king announcing digital IF and him just visiting Trump, it seems maybe plans are being executed. We are not flies. Social Observer, good luck on that almost going viral tweet. You can show me. They literally capped a fire marshal, Trump tard, to make the assassination attempt somewhat believable. Total dark arts ritual, like Sam Tripoli would say. Social Observer, thank you. Enter Paula White gibberish. Thank you. Great stream, Dix Insider. Dave Martin, thank you. Pratt is hardcore as Zio, and his handlers say no, JD Show. Sean, possibly. You all got any more of them derps? Scratches faces, Jeff Curator. Flock cameras equal we are the sheep. Crazy moniker. Remember they called us useless eaters decades ago. We're not even cattle. We're a nuisance. Jeff, the Curator. In case you need subtle reminder that your government does not think you are cattle, they call the cameras flock cameras. Cadmus. Second Amendment, what Second Amendment? Oh, that Second Amendment that lets me bear arms against school kids? Rorschach. If we're in the cube, are we all Cuban? Jeff. Tommy Blacha, pronounced Blaka, was hilarious. Kurt's friend Todd is right. I was so happy to see him get success. Love to all you all from Florida. John. Trump has been playing us, right? We're all being played. Nothing seems real unless it's Israel. I thought Biden was geriatric clown, but Trump is the leader we deserve at this point. What the flip? No. You know, when people say you get the government that you deserve, that is the government telling you how fucking stupid you are. That's not true. That's not true that we get the government we deserve. Our government is insane, and we didn't vote for this. We didn't vote for this. When Bernie Sanders was campaigning to be president, it was very popular that we should get healthcare, universal healthcare. Now, I was a high school English teacher for over 20 years, longer, and you get a better rate when there are more people in your group to purchase the insurance. We all know that. So I don't understand why all of America doesn't purchase a great plan. Why don't we get the same plan that Congress gets? So as far as I'm concerned, you know, you have somebody like AOC who said she's going to bring the ruckus. Did she bring the ruckus? No. She's in lockstep with Nancy Pelosi. You know, so I think when you hear George Carlin say, I don't vote, what are we voting for? Isn't it just, you know, what it's skull and bones? So, you know, I don't subscribe to that we get the government we deserve. I know some really nice people, and they don't deserve this shit. And our military, the people that are troops on the ground, they don't deserve it. Sharia Penn, 1,000 homes vaporized. Atkinson, Georgia, DEW attack, DEW attack. Trees attack like Lahaina and LA. Protested data center. Interview forensic arborist Robert Brame with book coming out, Radiation Fires. All right, I will share that one with the team. Thank you for that, Sharia Penn. Let's see what else. Making sure. All right, I read that one. Resist data centers. Ask Grok. That is funny. All right, this one. Let's see what this one. Women suck at voting. Oh, you're right. Oh, Social Observer. What are you talking? Your vote is your consent. Belle Benjamin, thank you. Thank you, Belle Benjamin. Now, a lot of nice people that deserve to have access, to actually have great health care. And ultimately, they don't want us to have great health care because how can you revolt? Right? If you're sick, if you're in debt, if you're enslaved. Let's see here. You like my color hoodie? It gets cold in here. My hands are cold. My nose is cold. All right, let's see here. I have to see if I missed something before I take off and I go and play with my doggie. She is so sweet. She's a big girl. She's bigger than Brownie. She doesn't know how big she is. She's probably over 60 pounds, and I was used to it. A little, like, I don't even think he was 7 pounds. So I was used to a little chihuahua, just scoop him up, you know. Trevor, we stand for you. Thank you, Trevor. John, Tommy Blacha. Oh, I read that one. Okay, I got through that one. What else can I tell you? I'm working on a Marjorie Taylor Greene impression. That is what I am currently working on, folks. And you know that that progressive poser AOCIA said she was going to bring the ruckus. This is what the ruckus looks like. All right, ladies and gentlemen, resist much, obey little. You know what? Be the best you can be, and I'll keep being me. Voila! See you later. Adios. Bye.